It is 6 o'clock. Good morning, live from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Justin Hawkins. The Tennessee Titans back on the practice field again today at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park after a chippy day yesterday that saw quarterback Cam Ward, defensive tackle Jeffrey Simmons get into a scuffle after Ward celebrated a touchdown. Titans cornerback Jarvis Brownlee Jr. talked about the scuffle with the media yesterday after practice.
You never want to see your quarterback in the middle of those type of things, but when it do happens, it just shows you the level of dog he got him. He ain't going to take nothing. It show you how much he cares about his offense, how much he cares about winning. And same goes for both sides of the ball with Jeff and him. And, you get that same attitude, that same confidence, that same edge each and every day out of those two guys.
The Titans will be on the practice field this morning at 10 a.m., and head coach Brian Callahan will meet with the media ahead of practice at 9:45. In NFL news last night, the Cincinnati Bengals beat the Washington Commanders 31-17 as Week 2 of the NFL preseason officially closes. Joe Burrow, much of the Bengals starters, played 3 series, and he went 9-14 for 62 yards and a touchdown. Jade Daniels and the Commanders starters played in just 1 series, but Daniels rushed for a 14-yard touchdown but did not attempt to pass. In college football news, the Associated Press released their preseason All-American first-team list yesterday. Tennessee Vols quarterback Jamad McCoy was the lone Vol that made the list. Clemson quarterback Cade Klubnik headlines, and Texas and Penn State each had 3 players on the list. The SEC dominates once again, having 12 of the 27 players listed. For all your foundation repair and waterproof needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once, and your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Very good Tuesday morning to you in studio again on 104.5 The Zone. Titans training camp continues, but your inside cats are back inside again. This is Ramon and Will, fueled by Scooters Coffee, 615-737-1045. The number? Scooters Coffee is locally owned in Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. Amazing people, amazing drinks, amazingly fast. Coming up, there was a little bit of a scuffle, a little bit of a fracas yesterday at the end of practice. We're not going to call it a fight. We're going to open the thesaurus and come up with as many of softer words for fight as we possibly can this morning. We'll talk about that. VolQuest Sauce Price joining us at 8:20. We're talking trust level and Joey Aguilar and the 2025 Titans. Ramon Foster, there's a lot to get to. Good morning.
Yes, it is, man. We're that much closer, Will. Skirmish like we had, a disagreement like we had yesterday, man. It just means we're that much closer to what the football season is offering us, man, especially when it's us versus us, because all that is telling me is they're so done with camp. That's what that is, man. They're so done with camp, man. So I'm looking forward to that discussion with you this morning, William.
At this point, when you were a vet, how done were you of camp? Like, at what point do you become tired of training camp?
It ain't pointless, so don't let me make it seem like none of this portion of training camp doesn't matter. It's not pointless, but you know who the guys on the team are going to be. You can probably walk down the list or walk down the line and play, ring around the rosy, or you're it, not it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could do that. You can point like, yeah, he's done. He's going home. He's practice squad. That guy's with this. And that's why I've always kind of said, like, it sucks to get to this last week right here, because the understanding of where the roster is and what your team's going to look like is already settled. So for the guys who are in it, like Jeff or Cam or Arden or Amani Hooker, they're probably just done with the process. It's like, we don't do this every day during the season. We're not in the mode of full pads every single day. I'm ready to play against an opponent. I'm ready to start game planning for stuff that actually matters. And I hate to say for stuff that actually matters, because there are guys that are still trying to fight for roster spots that the preseason matters to. There are guys that are legitimately trying to make one big play, one big kickoff return, one big tackle on special teams. But for the guys that are in the mix, Will, that, those 40-plus guys we know are going to make this roster, they're in a different mind space because they know how this league works. This is just fluff just to get to that point. You know what I'm saying? To week one is what it is. You're tired of I'm going to sound real spoiled when I say this. You're tired of being in a position where you're getting $500 checks a week. I'm not sure what they get paid for training camp right now. I think it might be like $750 a week for training camp. Just to do all this redundant, beating your body down to get to the point of playing a game that doesn't really matter. So to answer your question and get to the conclusion of it, it's tiresome right now is where you are. That last week for the vets that when we had 4 games, that was a big week because you got a lot of rest. You got a lot of preseason or first game prep that you can get yourself into. There was a healing moment in it also. And you really just mentally was tired of the day-to-day grind of what camp is.
Sure.
And you don't hate it, but it's just tiresome.
At what point in your career did you become comfortable enough within that to just think like, oh, I'm good, but also I'm kind of over camp?
Probably about year 5
Sure.
or so. Now, my position was a little bit different. Like, for a guy like Cam, he's probably still bright-eyed, bushy-tailed a little bit. And JC is probably in a different space, too. And Peter's in a different space because they're first-rounders. Like, you understand that you're going to make the team. Those dudes never have worried about making the team. Even Traylon last year, I don't think worried about making the team. So it's different for each person on how you come into the league. But that level of comfortability, knowing that you are starting in training camp, it was about year 4 or 5 for myself.
Sure. Yesterday, not super crisp for the Titans, who had a lot of dropped passes, a lot of footballs hitting the ground that did not need to be hitting the ground. The offense finished practice pretty well with a touchdown at the back of the end zone to Calvin Ridley in a low red zone period. I thought the offense did its best work in red zone yesterday. That is when the skirmish started that we will talk about coming up here in just a few minutes as Ward-Simmons and Cam Ward kind of went at it a little bit and a little bit of a shoving match started. But the defense, I thought, really was all over the offense yesterday, Ramon. Whether it was just a little bit inaccurate passing from Cam Ward, whether it was receivers just not being totally on the same page. I thought that too many footballs hit the ground yesterday. I thought that was the story of practice.
Yeah, again, offense is always one of them situations where I guess right now they're in a reset of getting adjusted back to home. But that's also, again, where I've stated before, like having a rookie also being able to be adjustable from being on the road to coming back home to putting his mindset back into practice mode and also figuring out his guys. When you mentioned this earlier, like when the defense gets back out there and they feel like they got to step up a little bit more, how is Cam and his wide receivers going to adjust to that? The timing of it. And that's why I also say like getting to the regular season portion of the year is it puts you in a space to where everything is new. And I felt like yesterday was probably a new phase for the offense. Again, having to quickly readjust. Timing is always going to be a thing. Practice always matters too. And I feel like the way everybody spoke about yesterday in general who was there, it was a more physical practice. Was it not more physical from the defense than the offense?
I don't know if more physical. I mean, I felt like the physicality was about what we've seen. It just was not a very crisp offensive day.
Focus is what it is.
Cam Ward was 1 of 5 in a third down period.
Oh, Lord. Yeah. Focus is where you at in those situations.
Well, I mean, at this point, how many bad days has the offense had? Why are we still not focused?
We talked about this.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, that's got to go out the window, right?
That's why I'm higher on the defense being the reason why this team wins than anything that Cam Ward can be capable of doing right now. There's still a learning process of many new moving parts on this offense.
I'm with you.
Yeah, and I think that's where we bring the barometer down just a little bit on the expectation of let Cam cook. You know what I'm saying? Like, there is also that part of it to where he has to grow and fill out those things. And those wide receivers have to meet his expectation or he's got to meet theirs too and know if his guys aren't having the day. That to me is growth. I believe that there's a high ceiling for Cameron Ward. I'll say that. But I don't know if that ceiling's touched this year. Not even potentially even next year. We're speaking about the caliber of guys that this team is hoping to have over the next 5 years while he's under his rookie contract. That plays a part in it, too. Some of these guys, we spoke about Van Jefferson, Tyler Lockett, Calvin Ridley. You know, some of these guys are in positions to where I'm not sure if it's age. I'm not sure if it's just a cohesion they don't have with him. but the growth that he has to have and the expectation of those guys to deliver for him isn't there right now. The defense should be leading the charge right now for the optimism on whatever is coming this upcoming season. That's where I have been on this one. Do I like what he can bring and the future of it? Absolutely. But the reality of this thing is, imagine going into Denver, right? If this offense was off yesterday against this defense, imagine what being on the road again with the high altitude in Denver against that defense with Sean Payton, who's also applying pressure offensively to this team dynamic. So that's where I feel like you got to settle back in as a fan and just, I think we're fine as a show covering this thing with the expectations, but that's where they are. This is a growth year, I feel like, for Cameron Ward and the Tennessee Titans moving forward.
Yeah, because you go to Denver, you see Pat Surtain, Talanoa Hufanga, Brandon Jones, and Riley Moss.
Yeah, that's not an easy slate.
No. And rookie Jahdae Barron, who was brought in there from Texas.
And that crowd's going to be insanely loud. So that dynamic of handling that Cam at his first start, and I would put it this way. I think Denver could be a high reality check for a lot of people to say, okay, now we settle into who we are. There will be good moments that Cam is going to deliver on. But that's where I feel like the level-headedness is going to pay dividends for the folks who are realistic about what's coming forward.
You wouldn't be shocked if Cam had the same kind of day in Denver that Caleb Williams had against the Titans defense last year in a win.
Yeah.
Now, they won the game because Will Levis gave it to them. Yeah. But ultimately, that was a reality check for Bears fans. There were some good flashes, I guess, but remember how bad that rookie debut was for Caleb Williams?
Absolutely.
I'm not putting that on Cam Ward as an expectation, but I am putting that out into the universe to say that's possible.
Yeah.
And that's okay. It's a rookie number 1 overall pick making his first appearance against a good defense.
I was going to say, and add to that, I don't think it's far-fetched that you could have a situation with what just happened in Atlanta. Like, there were some good things that happened. Gunnar Helm, Kelsey, the way he did.
Right.
I mean, the disconnection that he and Van Jefferson had, the 2-4-7 completion percentage, I think he's better over the duration of the game than what Atlanta provided. But we're talking about JC jumping off sides, penalties that happened throughout the course of the season. Like,
it's the little details.
Exactly.
It's Chimere DK not running his route to the right spot, so he clouds up the zone for Van Jefferson.
Oh, exactly. So, and that's more realistic, I feel like, from this past weekend going into the start of this season than almost anything else that have happened. And like you said, the Caleb Williams situation, I think, plays a part in it.
Well, coming up, Jeffrey Simmons and Cam Ward got into it a little bit at the end of practice yesterday. A lot of you have thoughts. The Evident Bank chat already full of many of your comments. Some of them I think are pretty unfair based on what I saw with my own 2 eyes yesterday. We'll talk about that next. Hey, it's Will Bowling. Are you having home electrical issues? Well, available 24/7, the Lee Company team handles electrical problems and more in short order. From routine repairs on outlets and switches to fixture upgrades, generator installations, Lee Company's award-winning electricians will get the job done right the first time. Contact Lee Company for all your home electrical needs at leecompany.com. That's leecompany.com to schedule with an experienced electrician. Lee Company is open 24/7 and with over 80 years of experience, trusted since 1944, 14 community locations. Lee Company's over 1,700 employees are ready to help you at a moment's notice. Contact them today at leecompany.com to schedule with an experienced electrician or call them at 615-567-1000. That's Lee Company, all you need.
The response to Genesis Diamond's massive diamond sale has been incredible, but this annual event ends this Sunday. So don't wait. Take advantage of the year's best pricing on all diamond rings. You can save an extra 20% off GIA-certified natural diamond rings or save 20% off any lab-grown diamond rings also. It's your choice, but in either case, you're buying like a dealer buys with insider pricing from a half a carat to 20 carat. They'll have every shape, every style also, from rounds, ovals, radiance, cushions, pear, emerald, princess, Genesis cuts, all handcrafted and set to perfection in a gorgeous Genesis setting, man. This is Genesis' most popular annual event where smart buyers know the value doesn't get any better than this. But hurry, the offer ends Sunday afternoon and will not be extended. And yes, due to the response, Genesis doors will be open Sunday for this final opportunity. It's the Genesis Diamonds Diamond Extravaganza, where you get an extra 20% off stunning GIA and lab-grown diamond engagement rings now through Sunday. Only at Genesis Diamonds. They're located in Green Hills and Cool Springs. See store for details.
Tuesday morning, Ramona Will is fueled by Scooters Coffee on 104.5 The Zone. Locally owned Scooters Coffee. Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. 615-737-1045 is our number. So yesterday, Ramon Foster, Jeffrey Simmons, and Cameron Ward got into it. Initiated contact from Cam, who started it, and Jeffrey Simmons, who kind of ended it.
Say that one more time. I know, like, just bring it back. You know how, like, the DJ do on mixtapes? Bring that back. Like, what happened again, Will?
Cameron Ward initiated it. Jeffrey Simmons finished it.
There it is.
And then the whole team got involved.
I love that,
Who was on the field at the time. This from Nick Suss, the Tennessean, and how he described it. He was down on the field. We were still up at the terrace at Titans training camp, and I was hanging out up there with Buck, and I did see all of it, so I'll get to my observations as well. But this is what Nick had to say from field level. Said, tempers very briefly flared at the end of Titans training camp practice with star tackle Jeffrey Simmons and rookie quarterback Cam Ward at the center of it. Ward punctuated a red zone period by throwing a touchdown in the back corner of the end zone to Calvin Ridley. The young passer hit his signature celebration afterward, putting one hand over his nose and mouth and his other arm out in front of his chest like a zombie walking. Ward got Simmons' attention before the celebration by shoving the Pro Bowler in the back, which led to a quick response from Jeff, who used two hands to shove Ward. Calvin Ridley also ran, I can tell you this, from the back of the end zone, had the football, threw it up in the air, and was pointing at Jeff the whole time. So Calvin was a part of this too. Here's the thing.
Yes. I love this, Will.
You like this a lot more than I do.
I love it.
And again, you've been a part of stuff like this, and I think you have an intimate knowledge, Ramon, that this stuff really isn't that serious. And so I think that is why you come to all of these every time we talk about fights on the field or fracases or skirmishes or whatever you call them. Because this wasn't a fight. Nobody's throwing punches. Right. If I see a punch thrown, it's a fight. If not, it's not a fight. Like, I hate it when people call these things fights. This is not a fight. This stuff happens at recess all the time, and nobody gets sent home for it. Like, not that big of a deal. You usually never really care about these things. Why?
Wow. Because this is building relationships, Will. This is building trust. This is also showing to me, like, the fighting that does happen, as long as we don't break a fist, punch somebody, get disrespectful, like blood is, skin is broken, this is what building your locker room is about. It again tells me you care about what I just did. I also care because that lets me as a young guy know that I got you for once. I got you. And I think that's what Cam thought he was friendly, in a friendly way was trying to do to Jeff. Was like, hey, ha, we got you guys. Like, and I love that because here's what we've talked about, I feel like, over the last 2 years. Jeff and. That's what we've been saying, is he not? Jeff and. You finally got the other part of that, Jeff and Cameron. Cameron and Jeff. I absolutely love this. The fact that Jeff knows that he got somebody that he can match up with on the other side that matches his energy. And I'll even say this too. I've always been told, and I feel like a lot of our fan base especially should feel this way, women and men, don't put your hands on somebody if you're not ready to fight them or you think you can whoop their behind. I say that again. Don't put your hands on somebody unless you're willing to fight them or you know you can whoop they behind. I tell my young athletes that all the time. I tell my boys that, y'all keep your hands off of people, man. Will, it's a heated competition. You come push me in the back, nudge me in the back after that, and it's hot already too. I'm probably going to be a little ticked off by that. Y'all know Jeff runs hot. I love the idea that he went back at the young boy because, again, there is a portion of that to Cam. Not one single quarterback I know puts his hand on a vet like that or a defensive player. Like, you can mock him all around him. You can go in a circle, laugh, point, all of those things. But, again, you put your hands on somebody, like, you're probably going to get a reaction. You put your feet in, like, that's just how it goes. But, again, I say this in response to everything that even happened after the fact. I absolutely love it because it lets me know that they got a guy at quarterback that is willing to challenge the biggest dog on the yard. And on the other side of that, Jeff is in a position to know that after the fact, he got that dog in him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is how you build this new foundation up, Will. Again, they're pouring concrete, and I like the fact that it ain't even settled just yet.
Jeffrey Simmons puts on Twitter yesterday at GrindSimmons94. LOL, y'all be doing way too much. It's practice, it's football, bleep happens between the lines. But y'all letting these reporters blow up something that happened at practice says a lot. Trust me and one is good. One meaning Cam Ward. Hashtag tighten up. Two things on this for me. For the practice perspective, Ramon, there's a reason why the quarterback wears a non-contact jersey. You can't touch him.
Thank you.
You can't touch
It's
quarterback.
red. It's red as
You can't
heck.
touch quarterback.
Yeah, cannot
So,
touch it.
Jeffrey Simmons knows that. Jeff, you can't touch quarterback. Like it to me, it's literally
That's
just
fair.
that simple.
That's fair.
It doesn't have to mean anything more. To the people in the F and Beg chat saying he threw a temper tantrum, no, I don't think it's really that deep. I think he just responded and in the heat of the moment responded to Cam like he was playing any other position.
Yeah.
Quite honestly, Ramon, it's not an excuse because this shouldn't happen, but I don't think Jeffrey Simmons is used to having someone to spar with.
Is that Will? It is that.
I think his fight or flight in that moment's like, hey, whoa, what's going on? Whoa, wait a minute. That's the quarterback.
Yeah.
And I think he'd probably admit that in his heart of hearts that, like, there's still some getting used to with having someone on offense who matches his energy in terms of the things he says and the way he operates at practice.
That's why I'm laughing. That's why it's so comical to me on this one, man. It's because there hasn't been anybody. I feel like Derek for the most part.
Derek wasn't a talker like this.
He wasn't I think probably he may have been, the competitor in him may have had this.
He grew into that over time.
Thank you, sir.
In terms of the way he would talk in that locker room.
But this is the Tennessee tough that this fan base speaks about. This to me is Steve McNair. This to me, Will, is Eddie. To where you go face to face. Dog, I know you've seen this, Will. This is Eddie George versus Ray Lewis. Is what you're getting right now. Not being able to walk into the lines then, into the teeth, and say, hey, I'm matching your energy. I'm here to stay. So, again, I'll say this. From what I understand, the offense coming behind Cam to back him up, that draws them closer. That shows me who the dogs. I'm watching the tape yesterday or this morning and say, who didn't show up to the fight?
Yeah.
Or not the skirmish. Who didn't show up?
Right.
That's what I'm worried about, Will. If we go back and we do film review and we see one of those offensive linemen with his hands tucked, Coach, I love him.
No, that wasn't happening.
You know
You have to worry about that.
But you see what I'm saying, though? Like,
I know what you're saying, but everybody was in it.
And that's
on the
what
field.
I love, man. Yeah. Like, again, does that mean wins and losses? No, but I think it sets an attitude for what the expectation is.
The second part of my feeling on this is I've been on the sideline for both preseason games.
Yeah.
I see the way those two guys talk with each other and act on the sideline.
Mm-hmm.
There is no one more in Cam Ward's corner on this entire football team than Jeffrey Simmons. Point blank.
Yeah.
I'm serious. It was one of my hits on Titans radio over the weekend. Jeffrey Simmons and Cam Ward are essentially joint at the hip on the sideline during preseason games. Cam is not always talking with Bo Hardigree and Brandon Allen and Trevor Siemian. When he gets done talking with his guys and his quarterbacks, he's got the earpiece in. He's still got his full jersey on, just not his helmet and a hat or just nothing. And he's always talking to a veteran. Normally, that veteran is Jeffrey Simmons. Mm-hmm. And when Jeffrey Simmons tweets out yesterday, "One and I are good," I believe it because I've seen it. I've literally seen it.
He's
Those two guys
on his off day.
They're joking around. They're laughing about stuff. They're watching the games. They've got the tablet. Like him and Lockett were on the field on Friday night in Atlanta, like going over the film of what was happening in front of them on the tablet in real time, just walking at the front of the sideline. So if anyone is going to react to this thinking like, oh, Jeffrey Simmons and Cam Ward aren't getting along. No, honestly, I don't. I think this is one of those things where they're getting along so well that something like this happens.
Yeah.
And that's why I think where Cam it comes from on this is like, no, that's big bro on the team. But for any of you out there who are little brothers, feels good to get one over on Big Brother every now and then.
Me, I couldn't wait to get one. Hell, I'm still trying to get one over on Savage, man.
For sure. So while yes, Jeffrey Simmons should not be putting his hands on the quarterback, that's true and that's fair. But at the same time, I don't think this is an issue. I think it's something that we're all going to have to get used to, that there's a guy on offense that could match what Jeffrey Simmons is on defense.
I love it. Somebody, I think Dylan in our YouTube chat said this, like, LeJuan was probably one of the last challengers like that in this modern era. LeJuan was.
Taylor Lewan, yeah,
Taylor Lewan. But who's been missing? We've asked who's going to be the guy to step up and represent. This is exactly what you want. Again, to your point, and you started this conversation off by saying this, Cam nudged Jeff like that. We gotta know a line. Also, Will, as much as I respect you, you walk up and step on my new white Air Force Ones, and come on, Will, you can't just be stepping on my shoes like that. Like, there's a lot that goes into the respect factor. Everybody's got a line, and in that moment, as competitive as Jeff is, you walk up to him, prancing in his face as a kid, like playing in his face, then you're going to get a reaction like that. What we haven't seen, though, Will, has been this. We haven't seen, or correct me if I'm wrong, Jeff overly do these types of things in these joint practices. From my understanding, he's been more of a model citizen, somewhat restrained in his reaction towards the other teams. He wasn't the starter of these fights. Was he trash talking? Yes. But everybody trash talks in this. This I feel like is a David versus Goliath moment, or good versus bad, where everybody, again, and rightfully so, is on Cameron Ward's side when it comes down to, hey, he's the guy that we got to protect. No, again, Jeff still plays a big role on this team. Both of these guys are equally yoked when it comes down to this team. And I would even say Jeff probably has more because Jeff's the all-pro Pro Bowler on this squad, too. He deserves an ounce of respect when it comes down. No, a pound of respect when it comes down to how he's got to be treated too. We can't forget that side of it, man. Should he have shoved? Should he have pushed on Cam however he did it? No, but we know when we go, oh, that's my bad right there. He didn't kill him. He didn't hit his arm. He didn't hit him in the face, from my understanding.
Yeah, just a little two-handed shove in the back. Cam didn't even fall over. Like it wasn't even that hard.
Look back and forth.
To me, fights at camp, and this wasn't a fight. So a fight is what would get you kicked out of a game. Training camp skirmishes mean very little to me if you don't do anything that would get you kicked out of a game. Mm-hmm. Nothing that happened yesterday at the end of Titans practice would have had anyone thrown out of the game. The only thing it did is waste time.
Right.
That's all it was.
Right.
And they still got that time back. They still finished what they needed to do in practice, but that's the one thing you could hear and you could tell is like, that's what Coach Mack always says, Ramon. We talk about the little training camp battles and, clashes and tussles and things like that. You're just wasting time. That's the only thing you're really losing.
To your point, there's probably a bigger lesson to be given to Cam on this one. Hey, Cam, you got a 40-second play clock that starts as soon as the play is over. You can't go wasting time trying to taunt somebody. Not only just that, though, Cameron, you're in a position where that taunt now have us kicking from the 40-yard line instead of a 15-yard field goal.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, there are lessons for him in this situation, too. I'm not blaming him. The situation to me is very comical. Especially, we're talking about a defensive lineman versus a quarterback. Like, that fight never happens.
I think that's the problem.
It never happens.
That is the only problem in all of this is that Jeff's going to pick on somebody his own size.
But Cameron started it.
He did. Yeah, no, 100%.
And again,
Jeff's not the only one who gets a little bit of blame in this.
No.
But again, blame in a situation that is just really not that serious.
Do you like this, though, from both sides? Like,
I don't.
You don't?
I don't take pride in it. I think it's just something that happened. Like, I don't think it's a big negative. I don't really think it's a positive. I just think it's part of it. It's part of growing as a team. I think good teams do it. I think not so good teams do it. Like, it's just part of it. It's hot. It was probably 100 degrees down there on the field. They got 20 pounds of gear on. You're getting done with practice. Like, it's the very end of practice. Like, it's just, I don't think it's something that's ideal. No. But do I think it's really that serious and a bad sign of things to come? No, not at all.
It's funny. I see a comment, and it's in response to our teammate here, Zach Lyons. It's like, I'm just tired of it always being something with Jeff, is what Brian says. And I'm just like, You have a guy who you know runs hot, that plays that way too, and also delivers for the squad. What you're seeing right now is somebody on the other side of the ball being able to match that. So maybe he doesn't have to be this. Again, I beg the franchise to answer his calling of getting him more guys like him, right? Like every team has that one or two guys that run hot, and they're very beneficial to the team. The question I have is who else is with him on that side of the ball so that he doesn't have to be the bad guy every single time.
Yeah, I'd love for it not to always just be Jeff.
Yeah.
I mean, somebody else needs to step up and match that level of energy. Maybe not after the play shoving the quarterback, but
right.
I think that is part of the problem with where this organization has been the few years, that it has been Jeff alone. That's more of a Titans problem than it is a Jeffrey Simmons problem.
Yeah, it is, and that's where I'm very ecstatic that Cam is matching that offensively. I don't think they got a bunch of choir boys on the offensive side of the ball, not even close. But to hear that they got a level of edge, I'll even go a step further for us. And I remember when I keep bringing them up, like when Marquise came in, he did bring that nastiness to the offensive line to where we were just okay with being good, but the attitude that you have to match what the defense at the time was also doing, like that's a tone setter. That's a culture changer right there when it comes down to having those guys in the locker room. Like I said, I feel like there will be a process of elimination, Will, to guys that don't fit the mold that Cameron Ward is bringing to this squad. And it's going to take probably 2-3 years to see who those guys are or to bring them in. But it's good to know that a foundation is being set to change the narrative that, we're just a 3-and-out team. Third down, this is what a lot of the fan base was talking about last. Hey, first down, second down, pass, punt. Like, those were the things that I felt like became the reputation what the Titans are. Now they're finding and getting identity. Again, it's the push of Cam that started it. And I still like that, too. The reaction that Jeff had, I love them both.
I would rather the identity be set. I'd rather the identity of the team be set between the whistles.
But this is an unofficial one right here. And I think during the course of the season, they know what type of guy Cam's going to be on game day.
I get it. Yeah, I get it. 615-737-1045 for your thoughts. Gunnar Helm with a one-handed catch in routes on air yesterday. Guys continuing to just make very difficult things look pretty easy. For a rookie. Again, if you missed the start of the show, I thought there were a lot of drops yesterday. Mm-hmm. Van Jefferson was a part of that. Tyler Lockett was also a part of that. I think there was one specifically to Chim DK that I would have liked to be brought in that wasn't. Things just weren't crisp yesterday. I didn't think it was the cleanest practice for the offense. Dan Moore, no limitations for him. He missed a couple of snaps in the most recent preseason game against Atlanta. He had really just one snap he missed. Then he came back in, and then they just set him on the bench and didn't take any risks with him getting rolled up on against the Falcons. I saw all that happen too. So no concern over Dan Moore Jr. at all. The big positive yesterday, Ramon, we're going to get to coming up next. 615-737-1045. Let's go to Brandon first, though, before we get to that. What's up, Brandon?
Morning, Brandon.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's been a while since I called you guys. I just wanted to chime in on this whole Jeffrey Simmons thing. I think it's hilarious, but there's somebody that used to play for the Titans that had the same flag that was thrown his way, the same way that people played towards Jeffrey Simmons, and that is Albert Haynesworth. He was goody up front, and he would be a little bit of a bully, but also he would. He is going to stand up for his teammates, and he is going to be there for his teammates. And Jeffrey Simmons is the same way. He's going to do whatever he can, and he's going to say whatever, and he's going to be there for his teammates, just like Albert Haynesworth is. I want to hang up and let you guys talk about this, but I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one that's in the same boat that thinks this.
Yep. I'm with you, Brandon. 100%. I agree. I think you need one of those guys.
Every team needs.
You'd like to control that energy within the proper context, and you'd like to keep your quarterback free from it. But you need a bear that when he gets poked, lashes out at you a little bit. You need one of those guys on every team.
Yeah, you do.
Any sport, too. It's not just a football thing.
I mean, I'm more hype about the Vanderbilt transfer going to the Vols in basketball because I know he's that type. What's
Jalen Carey.
Jalen Carey.
Yeah.
Whose
like dad played NFL football.
I love that.
Checks out. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There's nothing wrong with this.
615-737-1045. The biggest positive of yesterday's Titans practice is next.
It's Ramon Foster for Brian's Motorsport, man. Yes, that Brian's Motorsport. You see the tire tracks on the back of the vehicle with the BMS? That's who built it. Their motto is this, man: dream, design, build. That's their slogan, okay? Their address, if you do not know, is 789 West Main Street in Hendersonville, Tennessee, man. And if you are ready to elevate your vehicle, Brian's Motorsports, they specialize in transforming rides with statement-making custom wheels, immersive audio experiences, and head-turning style, man. Whether you want something subtle, okay, or a complete custom build, I've gone to subtle, I've gone to wild style. They can deliver every cutting edge style and performance for all vehicles, including the most exclusive and exotic cars, too. If you're a Jeep or Bronco person, guess what? You want the ultimate off-road package? Brian's Motorsports is the undisputed leader in Jeep customization. Brian's Motorsports can give it an aggressive off-road appearance and performance that has made Brian's Motorsports the undisputed leader off-road upgrades, man. What makes them different is this: they listen to you, the customer, hear your vision, and put together your dream vehicle. Dream, design, build was inspired by their team wanting to make your dreams come to life, man. And again, whatever your budget is, they can make it work. To get in contact with them, you can visit bronzemotorsports.com or go to the address at 789 West Main Street in Hendersonville. The phone number also 615-800-2199. Be sure to tell them that Ramon sent you.
Ramona Will, 104.5 The Zone is fueled by Scooters Coffee, locally owned in Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet's. Amazing people, amazing drinks, amazingly fast. I feel like I'm going back to bed hearing this. What is this? I like Kane Brown. I know the song, but we gotta get going a little bit, Justin. Gotta get the people going.
I was feeling some Kane Brown this morning.
I like that song.
Unfortunately, our system did not have a lot of Kane Brown in it, so I'm going to have to update that.
The song's about going to bed with someone. We just got out of bed.
Sounds like I need to listen to Kane Brown. I like this voice, man. No, for the voice, not the going to bed.
For the going to bed. All right. Okay.
Here we go.
I love when you
Anyway.
hear Charles Davis' voice right there. Okay.
All right. Lloyd Kushenberry practiced yesterday, Ramon.
Did he?
With the team.
You should have led the show with this. What the heck?
It's called a tease, Ramon.
Come on. I'm there
I
today.
think people hang on for the end of hour one. Lloyd Kushenberry took full speed reps in team periods for the first time since injuring his Achilles in November. He never had more than 2 snaps in a row, but it was a step. Mm-hmm. He would lead off a period, and then Corey Levin would jump in. I think there is a level of conditioning that Kushenberry is going to have to get to that he's not there yet. And that's to be expected for someone who has been rehabbing and getting back into football shape. But, Ramon, this is an important next step on him potentially being on the field week 1 in Denver.
It is, man. Also, I think it's settling his mind. I've never had that type of injury or a major one anyway. But the biggest hurdle has to be mental. Okay, how will I react to what I'm doing, especially the push-off side of it or the ACL where you got to push and, pivot and stuff like that. I like the 2-play sets that they're putting him in that you're telling him about right now because, again, it gets him the pop that he needs. It lets him understand where his body is. And then the other part is you don't want to overwork this. And then there's a drawback to his recovery process, man. So I want to see how I want to see if he goes again today. I want to see if there's soreness in it. I think with the 2 reps that they are giving him per period or whatever it is, they get a real evaluation of where he where he's at actually. Yeah. So I do like this. Also, the Titans medical staff has revamped a good bit of the stuff that they've been doing with the sports medicine and working out and stuff. So I would love to know if we could ever get that information from them, what the research has shown them about the Achilles injury.
It does feel like there is more thought behind all of that side of things under Chad Brinker and the new era of the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah.
There's more thought and a process behind the injury prevention, but also the recovery piece and the nutrition and the sports science and all of those things. So, I mean, clearly that's the case because if he's already available to practice, then things are going well.
Yeah, he must have crushed rehab is what I'm thinking if he's already out there practicing like this. This is bodies pushing on him pushing on bodies too.
And just for one play. And then
but
a long break and then one play. But that's more than no plays.
Yeah.
So for you, Ramon, what was the biggest injury you had to come back from? And how long did it take you to feel like you were ready from a conditioning standpoint and just from a overall physicality standpoint to play football again?
Oh, Lord. I got 3 that was very concerning. One where I had to get a shot down in my neck because I kept catching stingers, so I had to get a steroid in there. That took me about 2+ weeks, and I had to put on a neck roll collar and everything, man. I didn't feel normal after that one probably until 3 weeks after the fact where I didn't have to think about it. The other one I had was the one I thought was going to end my career. The biggest one I had where I had a bone bruise on my right knee. Guy ran right into it. Knee went backwards, man. Didn't tear anything. Structurally was fine. But the bone bruise, man, took me a month to get right, 4 weeks to get right, and then another week of prep, running, practicing, watching it get, blown up again from where I was practicing, where I had to ice it back down again, had to get drained. I didn't feel comfortable from that injury probably until 3-4 weeks into the season. So 2 months from the original 4 weeks of healing is where I was with it.
Sure. Had
one of my better seasons that year too. And the only reason I started the season off was because we went to Cleveland and Cleveland had a crazy weather, turn of events where it was 68 in September and it was rainy. That was the only reason I started the season off. But a hyperextended knee with a deep bone bruise, and that was a 2-month recovery for me, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think there is, obviously reason to expect there will be an acclimation period and there will be some rust.
For him, yeah.
For Lloyd Kushenberry, I think the positive, Ramon, is that you feel about as good about Corey Levin as you do about any backup on the team.
He's had the bulk of
Corey
it.
Levin knows what he's doing.
Yeah, he does.
He 100% knows what he's doing. So coming off the Achilles injury, we will see. It's going to be a process, but I mean, he at least, people around there feel optimistic that he could be there week 1. We'll see.
High hopes. That'd be cool for him. And I'm sure that was probably one of his rehab goals too. Wouldn't you think? As soon as he saw the schedule, I got to get back.
100%. Considering he used to play there,
absolutely.
I would love for that to not be a factor. I would rather him be ready when he's ready versus risk further injury again. But they're not going to put him in harm's way if they think that's possible.
But what you do know, because he hasn't practiced a whole lot, is Corey Levin is very much prepared.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Corey Levin knows what he's doing.
So it won't be a surprise to him if he does have to step in for Lloyd Kushenberry.
Yeah.
But that is the one luxury the Titans have right now.
It's more about the other things Lloyd can give you.
Yeah, man.
In terms of the pre-snap communication, in terms of the diagnosing, in terms of just the checks that they're going to make pre-snap and the responsibility that lies on the center to do a lot of those things. I think that is where Lloyd really gives Cam Ward a huge benefit and huge help going into his first NFL start.
I do wonder, will he and Lloyd have to have an adjustment period too? Because he's only taking snaps.
I think that is a big reason why he is starting to get back in team periods now.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can see that being the case. His center has been Corey Levin for the most part.
Coming up, NFL headlines. There was a preseason game last night. There is a starter in the AFC North, and the Colts making a big move on defense. All that and more next.
It is just before 7 o'clock. Good morning, live from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Justin Hawkins. The Tennessee Titans back on the practice field again today at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park after a chippy day yesterday that saw quarterback Cam Ward, defensive tackle Ward-Simmons get into a little tussle after Ward celebrated a touchdown. Titans cornerback Jarvis Brownlee Jr. talked about that tussle with the media yesterday after practice.
You never want to see your quarterback in the middle of those type of things, but when it do happens, it just shows you the level of dog he got him. He ain't gonna take nothing. It show you how much he cares about his offense, how much he cares about winning. And same goes for both sides of the ball with Jeff and him. And you get that same attitude, that same confidence, that same edge each and every day out of those two guys.
The Titans will begin practice this morning starting at 10 a.m., and head coach Brian Callahan will meet with the media ahead of practice at 9:45. In NFL news, last night, the Cincinnati Bengals beat the Washington Commanders 31-17 as Week 2 of the NFL preseason officially comes to a close. Joe Burrow, much of the Bengals starters, played 3 series, and he goes 9-14 for 62 yards and a touchdown. Jaden Daniels and the Commanders starters played just 1 series, but Daniels rushed for a 14-yard touchdown. Meanwhile, not attempting a pass. The Miami Dolphins yesterday are announcing that they are signing 4-time Pro Bowl edge rusher Matthew Judon to a 1-year, $6 million max value. Judon visited the Dolphins yesterday and now gets a contract. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Away we go to the 7 a.m. hour 2, Ramon and Will, fueled by Scooters Coffee. Scooters is locally owned in Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. Amazing people, amazing drinks, amazingly fast. Coming up in 20 minutes, how has training camp impacted your expectations for the 2025 Tennessee Titans? You've seen preseason games. We've seen practices. What do you think? Where are you at on how good this team can be in 2025? We'll have a big picture Titans discussion with you coming up here in just about 20 minutes. Your phone calls at 615-737-1045. Yesterday, Ramon Foster, a second Super Bowl winning AFC North quarterback was named.
Yes, it was.
So in addition to Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson, there are 2 Super Bowl winners who are starting quarterbacks in the AFC North. Joe Flacco now joins Aaron Rodgers.
Hey, now.
Your team's got one of them.
Oh,
crazy.
You're right. That's
Joe
true.
Flacco will open the season as the Browns starting quarterback, entering his 18th NFL season. The injuries have really made this a runaway for him. Kenny Pickett, the 2022 first-round pick, who was traded for by the Browns in the offseason, he has not participated in 11-on-11 drills since injuring his hamstring July 26th. Oblique injury for Shedeur Sanders, who also just was never up for the starting job because he never received a single rep with the starting offense during training camp. And Dylan Gabriel, who was also hurt at times, played the final preseason game, or played the second preseason game over the weekend. What do you make of Joe Flacco in Cleveland?
Cleveland's just trying to find some stability. Is where they are with Joe Flacco. I think he makes the most adult decision that they want to make. I heard somebody last night actually speaking about this, and their mindset was Cleveland doesn't want to make the hard decision. Cleveland, the sooner they move from Flacco to give one of those other young guys an opportunity, the better they're going to be as far as seeing if they need to draft a quarterback in this 2026 class. If they really were serious about trying to rebuild with what they got going on, then they would go ahead and see what Shedeur or Dylan Gabriel were capable of. I was told by somebody, man, that was if you see them put in Kenny Pickett or one of the young guys, then the tank is on. Is the way they're viewing that situation. So I kind of want to see how long Joe Flacco lasts. Can they protect him also? That offensive line is going to be very interesting watching DeJuan Jones on that left side protect him. Joe Thomas is no longer over there. The stability that they have of a left tackle is gone. And as old as Joe is, the same questions I have about Aaron Rodgers in Pittsburgh. what hit is going to take them out of those games. And I think it's crucial for them to figure out what their young guys are capable of. This quarterback carousel, I think at this point, all 4 make the roster.
That's what it sounds like. Adam Schefter reported that yesterday, that there is a growing belief that all 4 quarterbacks will make the 53.
I see so. I just don't see Shador getting cut. I think for them, they will worry about the optics. I think for them, they'll worry about the blowback that the fan base will give them because of that. And I feel the same. It's too high of a pick for Dylan Gabriel for them to let him go also as a 3rd rounder. They may try to trade somebody, but if Joe's not there, I think Kenny Pickett's the 2nd guy in line, though. That's the way I see it, before the other rookies.
Yeah, I don't think Kenny Pickett would be a tank quarterback. I feel like there's actually belief that Kenny Pickett could be a reclamation project there for Kevin Stefanski. In the same way Ryan Tannehill was brought to Tennessee and Sam Darnold was brought to Minnesota and Daniel Jones to Indy, I feel like they view Kenny Pickett within that same lens.
I view Kenny Pickett as Mitch Trubisky right now. Even if he
a lot of similarities between those two players, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
in terms of how much they played in college.
Yep. And what they did with their 1st round draft pick, position that they were in. I don't see much out of Kenny, respectfully.
No, I don't either. I'm just saying I think that's how they view it.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
I don't view him as a legit starter in this league.
Ooh,
Would he be the most potential trade candidate though out of that 4 quarterback room?
Kenny Pickett?
Yeah.
Hell no.
Why?
Would he be the highest trade candidate?
He's the one quarterback that hasn't got much reps because of his injury. Shedeur Sanders is making the headlines.
Well, nobody's going to want a part of Shedeur.
Right, but Dylan Gabriel had a good game on this past weekend. Kenny Pickett makes the one sense that to either release or to trade.
Kenny Pickett signed he was traded away. Kenny Pickett was traded away.
He's already been traded twice. Might as well make it a 3rd time.
I don't think he holds that much trade value anymore.
I mean, none of them do.
Yeah, no. I think Howie Roseman got over on the Browns is the way I look at that one, which he usually does anyway.
He went for a 6th round pick?
The way it works.
He went for a 6th round?
No, I'm asking.
Howie.
No, he was asking. I don't know if that's what the trade actually was.
Will not pick up his 5th.
Kenny Pickett was traded for Dorian Thompson-Robinson and a 5.
And a 5?
5. Wow.
Plus DTR.
I
think they may have. This is not good radio. Cleveland agreed to trade DTR and their 5th round pick from Detroit to the Eagles in exchange for Kenny Pickett. There you go. DTR and a 5th.
Okay, DTR and a 5th. Eagles won that one. But again, I just don't see much optimism with Kenny Pickett as far as trade value and as a player. I think if he gets traded again, you cut the product one more time and he's just lower on the totem pole. He could be a good reclamation project. I just don't think this is a year for him to be in consideration for that.
Yesterday, the Indianapolis Colts signed 4-time Pro Bowl quarterback Xavier Howard because nobody's healthy in their defensive back room. They don't have any corners at the moment. So 4 key injuries for Indy, including veteran slot Kenny Moore, Jalen Jones, who started all 17 games last year, 2023 second-round pick Juju Brents, and then rookie Justin Wally, who is out for the season with a torn ACL. He tore his ACL 2 weeks ago and was projected to be cornerback 3, 3rd-round pick this season. It's a reunion with Lou Anarumo, who's got a long history with Xavier Howard. He was the Dolphins DB's coach during Howard's first 2 seasons with the team in 2016 and 17. Xavier Howard has not played NFL football since 2023. Sat out last season with a Liz Frank injury. Anything you get from him is bonus. Right now, he's just a body for Indy to bring in who knows the defensive coordinator.
And I want to see how that foot and his rehab is on that turf up in Indianapolis, too.
Great point.
That plays a part into his health. When you talk about a guy like him, yes, wasn't all pro at one point in time. Injuries and age get us all at some point. His availability is are you asking him to only practice on Fridays and be ready for Sunday? He's in that type of situation. Indy's scrambling. This is late in the season. late in the process as far as preseason goes to be trying to find potential starters for your squad. So you had to go with somebody who's very familiar with him, with Xavier Howard. Yep. Very fascinating. Coach is going to be an interesting outfit. They are this year.
I agree.
Very interesting, man. They can go really good or really okay. Really bad is the way I see them. Really okay or really bad. I don't know if they're going to be a great squad this year. And all because it starts with the quarterback, too. What is their quarterback situation? We're talking about the Browns. I think they're in the same situation as far as the decision is where I'm at with it.
I think Anthony Richardson is the higher ceiling and lower floor quarterback. and Daniel Jones could skate to 8 wins.
Yeah.
But the thing is, do you really want 8 or 9 wins? I don't think that roster is good enough for Daniel Jones to make them a 10-11 win team.
The one thing that Daniel Jones does is when he loses games, it looks bad.
It does.
It never is.
Because there's not a lot of explosiveness.
No.
It's a lot of dink and dunk. It's a lot of just... You're right. It's boring and bad at the same time, as we like to say.
And then he'll do the exciting thing. Scooters just showed up real quick.
Oh,
I was doing a cheerleader situation right there.
I read between the lines.
You figured that a little bit?
Yes.
Okay. But that's how he is as a quarterback to me and I like him because for some guys you feel like they'll take that next step and he's yet to do it. Maybe out of New York could do him justice. What was it, a Southern boy that was going to New York, New Jersey? You never know how that's going to affect people. It shouldn't. I'll always say you're paid to do a job and to be where your feet are, and he simply couldn't make that happen there. But, of course, their whole coaching staff and everything they got going on is under the microscope this year, too.
Yep. It's fair. Last night, Bengals 31, Commanders 17. Don't let the score fool you, though. It was rough when the starters were out there, with Washington just kind of being all over Cincy, at least very early. Jaden Daniels did play and had 1 carry for 14 yards and a touchdown. Other than that, just handed it off. He did not go down and was juking around guys and staying on his feet to get in the end zone. He was asked about it by Monday Night Football. Once he subbed out, he just said, I wanted to score.
Young man.
Buddy. Let's be a little more careful than that is what I would be thinking if I'm Dan Quinn.
I ain't got a chance to see him. Does he look like he's added a couple LBs?
I can't really tell just from TV, but, I mean, he looks like Jaden Daniels. Looks like he did last year, at least last night. Bengals did put Joe Burrow out there. He was 9 of 14 for 62 yards and a touchdown. He was sacked for a 17-yard loss. The offensive line was not able to really protect him in a significant way, and their starters on defense looked like last year's Cincinnati Bengals defense.
Marius Mims is just porous on the right side of the offensive line, too. I'm looking at them just like, if y'all had any stance on what Trey Hendrickson's got going on, it needs to end. And it needed to end last night with how Joe Burrow was affected. Because of how the offense was affected, go get Trey Hendrickson. That man, I love the fact that he's standing firm.
Yeah, here he's available. Cincinnati should trade for him.
He should.
Oh, wait.
Oh, wait.
He's already on the team. They just won't pay him.
It's just, never mind. I'm not going to do this thing with them. 1 sack. Did you see the way Joe Burrow was running around in a circle?
Yeah.
That's lowbrow. That's very low IQ
It looked like
stuff.
the Cincinnati Bengals.
It's just low IQ
It
stuff.
looks like a team with a bad defense that can't protect their star quarterback.
Shout out the Window Nation windows. They need to go to Cincinnati. And just close the window, Will. That's what I'm saying. Just close it. They don't deserve it.
To the point about the backup quarterback battle in Cincinnati and the Titans' potential opportunity to add Jake Browning if he lost that battle to Desmond Ridder. Jake Browning last night, Ramon, 16 of 25, 159, 2 touchdowns. Desmond Ridder, 1 of 1, 7 yards.
Love that for him.
So that is either Cincinnati trying to lure Jake Browning for some trade offers, or he's the QB2 and Desmond Ridder just kind of lost the battle. So either way, would you rather have Desmond Ridder, Jake Browning, or Brandon Allen as QB2 for Cam Ward?
Yeah, pretty much. And I think Cincinnati know that Joe Burrow is going to be under duress a good bit, so you might as well keep a backup in Jake Browning.
Yeah, 100%. It'll just keep the guy that wins the battle.
Yeah, we've been
Curious if Desmond Ridder maybe gets more of the reps in the 3rd preseason game.
Oh, and
he only threw 1 pass.
Yeah. Debo Samuel looked like he had his speed back, too. Love that for him.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
One catch, 19 yards for him.
Head up to I-71 north. Just close the window. I'm tired of talking about them for unserious organizations. That's just me.
I agree with you, but Joe Burrow makes them a serious organization.
That's the point.
That's the thing that they're wasting.
That's the point.
Yep. 615-737-1045. How has training camp impacted your expectations for the 2025 Titans? That's next.
It's Ramon Foster for our good friends at United Structural Systems, man. Listen to me. Your concrete, is it in need of repair? Maybe your sidewalk is shifting, your driveway is cracked or sinking too, or maybe your porch steps have moved on you, and you know exactly what I mean. You go to step up onto the actual porch and you trip. Shifting concrete can create a dangerous situation, just trip hazard around your home. It's also just a big eyesore. Shimon Foster, and whatever is going on with your concrete, call United Structural Systems. Ask them about their polyurethane foam injections. You've heard about USS for a long time. It's the same company that's provided superior foundation, repair, and waterproofing to Middle Tennessee since 1994. Well, they can also fix your sunken and settling concrete. USS uses polyurethane foam injection to lift and repair your sinking concrete in a matter of minutes. Lifted concrete can be walked on immediately or even driven on after about 30 minutes. So don't go through that long, expensive process of ripping out and replacing concrete. Reach out to the company that I trust, man. That's United Structural Systems. The website is USSTN.com. That's USSTN.com. Or call them 615-488-7855. United Structural Systems.
Ramona Will, fueled by Scooters Coffee on 104.5 The Zone, locally owned near you in Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet's. Shout out our good friend Aaron from Scooters Coffee, dropping off a ton of caffeine and good stuff for us, Ramon.
Yeah, he did.
We got a pot of caramelicious coffee going
Smells
here
so
this
good.
morning. The flavored blends are terrific because it's not too sweet, but you get a little bit of flavor in it.
Mm-hmm.
You can drink it black, but it's got that caramel finish to it, so to say.
Hey.
Fantastic stuff you need in your life. Download that Scooters Coffee mobile app as well. Super easy to use. Order ahead. You can drive up and say, I got to order for Will, except don't say Will. And ready like that.
Yeah. If we had an intern, I would most definitely have them bring us a hot cup right now. So I'll just wait till we're on break, man. I've been begging for an intern forever for no other reason than to go get me some coffee. That's it. That's all I'm looking for. Shout out to I got Aaron, man. I much appreciate that personal drop off he just gave us.
I love it.
Yes.
Good stuff. How has training camp impacted your expectations for the 2025 Tennessee Titans? How are we feeling? Vibe check. Titans fans, would love to hear from you on this. 615-737-1045. How good do you think this team can be? Has training camp, has preseason games, has seeing Cam Ward, if you've been out of practice, impacted how good you think this team can be? Ramon Foster, where is this Titans team better now than you thought they would be by this point of camp? Let's start on the positive side of this.
Small sample size. I can't wait to hear from this fan base either through YouTube or if they call in. What's the number again, Will?
615-737-1045.
Small sample size, though. I am more optimistic about the entirety of the offensive line than I thought I would be. I think this offseason, we heard so much about Dan Sachs. We heard so much about what Peter ain't a guard. I was worried about Lloyd not being there and seeing those dudes operate this preseason. And I know it wasn't the ones. I know Atlanta didn't send their goons out there. I know Tampa didn't send their goons out there either. But they held up strong and got Cam believing that he can live in a comfortable pocket. And if you have that, you got a quarterback that can see and deliver the football. I'm higher on that. And I will say this. I feel better about the group, but I'm even higher, Will, on Peter Skoronski. I think what we spoke about a little bit, my projection that he's supposed to take that year 3 jump, he's getting articles written about him right now. I'm not sure if he makes a Pro Bowl. I'm not sure because we know that goes to winning teams and teams that have a big media push for those guys from time to time.
Especially at guard, a position that's hard to evaluate statistically.
It's so hard to, okay? But I say all that to say, with or without a Pro Bowl, I think Peter Skoronski is solidified as being one of the best young guards in the NFL moving forward. I like what I saw from him this preseason. He fought. He mixed in his back and forth on how he was going to pass set guys. I absolutely loved it. I got a couple more things, but I want to take up too much airtime right here.
No, I think you're good. I think that is where you have to begin, right?
Yeah.
This offensive line looks good. And not just good in the context of how bad they've been in past years and all, they're better. I think this offensive line is going to be in the top half of the NFL by the end of the year if they stay healthy. I think they're knocking on the door of being a top 10 offensive line in the NFL if they continue to improve at the rate we are seeing them grow this preseason.
Yep. I'm big on that one, man. Another one, I'm not sure if you're going to take this one, but I think Callahan's earned more time. You remember earlier this spring, I was like, well, the pot is on for him. It ain't simmering, but his feet a little hot. I think Callahan's earned more grace this offseason with how he's conducted himself, the way he's challenged and set this team up, and how they've also responded to him. The kumbaya stuff that fans just like, they're playing dodgeball. Well, they weren't playing dodgeball, but all the little small things that they had going on. Yeah, it's true. But the competition that he put them in, I think we're seeing that right now, too. I think Callahan deserves, going into the season, win, lose, or draw, more winning or more losing, more time, more grace. That changed for me this offseason.
Well, and I think the offensive line part of it is significant for Callahan in that it raises the floor of the 2025 Titans offense.
Yeah.
I think that's where you begin. What is the implication of maybe having a top half of the league line? Or maybe, let's say, best case scenario, Ramon, this Titans offensive line is top 10 in the league.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot more that Brian Callahan can prove to us if that is true. Because if you have a top 10 offensive line in the NFL, you're not in 3rd and 12 as much because you got sacked on 2nd and 7. You are ahead of the sticks because you're able to pave more ground for Tony Pollard in the run game to keep you ahead of the sticks and keep you out of 3rd and long. There are not a lot of play calls for 3rd and 15.
No.
There's not much in the National Football League that a play caller can do when you are so consistently behind the sticks, other than call vertical routes that ticky-tack penalty calls will just hand you first downs because you're pushing the envelope. Well, what happened last year when the Titans pushed the envelope? Will Levis turned the envelope over to the other team and then set your defense up in short fields. Yeah. There's also not a lot a play caller can do when the opponent is consistently starting on the plus side of the 50 because your special teams unit can't stop a nosebleed. I think at this point, Ramon, the floor of the Titans is raised to a level that means Brian Callahan is safe.
Yeah.
I think it's that simple. I think that is where my expectations have been adjusted through camp. Yeah. Because of how much better the offensive line is. I think the floor of the offense is higher, which means the floor of this football team is higher. I don't think this team is a 3 or 4 win team again in 2025. I think they have an on-ramp in November to get some momentum and beat some teams they're not supposed to because they will avoid disaster plays this time around more so than I think they had this time last year.
That was my last point right there, what you just said. I think they end up beating a team or a couple they're not supposed to. That because of those 2 other reasons right there. Well, I legitimately have that in my notes is they find a way to beat a team into that sparks, that belief that they can compete. Because I don't know if I don't know holistically that they still know that or the process of how to do it. But because of, those things that you mentioned right there, I can see that playing a huge part into them. I don't know which game it is. I'm not going to play Nostradamus and it's like, hey, they're going to beat this team. But because they've learned how to compete in competitiveness that they've had this offseason, and also the incorporation of Cam and better O-line, I can see them finding a way. I do.
I agree. I think at this point, Cam Ward is about where you would like for him to be in terms of showing you some really good things, but also worrying you about some things that got to get cleaned up. I still think there's some footwork stuff for Cam that you want to continue coaching good habits and not bad ones. I think it was Dan Orlovsky who had the video about him in Tampa where he's stepping to his side and showing the arrogance of how good his arm is to layer a ball over a corner in between a corner of safety and a cover 2 to the boundary. I think you'd like to see him step into his throws more because that arm strength is only going to get you so far against really, really good corners that you want that extra oomph on the ball. But I think as a whole, I'm really pleased with the progress that Cam Ward has made. Yeah. I'm not seeing as many of the late throws over the middle that got picked off and were turnover-worthy plays that I was seeing on film for him at Miami.
You sure haven't.
Now, when you have full contact, when you turn the lights on, when the competitive juices start flowing, yeah, Cam Ward's going to have some bad turnovers. It's just the reality of having a young quarterback that is his skill set. He's a playmaker. He's hunting. He's trying to make big plays. All those things, it comes with some of the good. You got to take some of the bad. But I've not seen the same kinds of turnovers in this camp as I did on film from him that were troubling at Miami. I'm seeing him trying stuff out in camp with the arm angles, with the RPOs, with trying to just rifle the ball over a linebacker over the middle. Guys are getting hands on it. It's getting deflected and intercepted. I can live with that at this point of camp for him.
You know what's crazy is I brought up earlier as we talking about the skirmish between Jeff and Cam was this. I said the offense was a bonus. And I think that's why I started with them first. Has anything I'm not sure what your points are, and I know we got Joe on the line right here too, but is there anything defensively that made you more optimistic though? I think
about this team right now than last year?
I think Cedric.
Inside linebacker. I think is improved.
Yep.
I think Cody Barton is an upgrade on Kenneth Murray.
Yeah.
And I think Cedric Gray and James Williams put together as they continue to battle for snaps looks like a solid inside linebacker room. That is the one area on defense where I feel better than this time a year ago.
I agree.
Just because of Cody Barton. But let's remember this time last year, Ramon, too. This team had just brought in Ernest Jones, and you felt great about the bargain you got for Ernest Jones and how good he could be in this defense. So we're a year removed from still feeling pretty good about inside linebacker this time last year. I just think Cody Barton is so much better than Kenneth Murray.
Mm-hmm.
I do.
I agree.
This time last year, we had hope in Kenneth Murray, but unfortunately, that didn't pan out the way we wanted.
We've actually seen plays from Cody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. Joe the Trucker leads us off, 615-737-1045. What is your vibe on the Titans in this fan base? How good do you feel about this team moving forward into the regular season? What's up, Joe?
Morning, Joe.
What's going on, guys? How are you doing this morning?
We're good.
Good morning.
Good. I'm home this morning. I'm haven't gotten out on the road yet this week, but was that your question? I don't even know what the question was.
Yeah, question is, how has training camp and preseason impacted your expectations about this team?
Yeah, you didn't even ask about me being home.
Welcome home, Joe.
Okay.
The Titans this year, this is what we have to keep in mind, okay? Cam Ward has some fire to him, okay? And I remember Titans seasons where we were losing and we had no future. I don't feel like it matters if we have a good winning season or a losing season. I think that we have a future, and I think that's what's more important.
Yeah.
So that's what I wanted to say.
Thank you, Joe. Joe from home. Appreciate
Joe
the call.
from home. Welcome back, Joe. welcome back to the land, Joe.
I think Joe does bring up a decent enough point, though, that like even if the wins and losses don't immediately come, the beauty of drafting a young quarterback is there is hope.
Yeah.
There is a pathway to relevance and a pathway to success. And you've mentioned it before. The best thing for this team, Ramon, could be another rebuilding year because then you get a draft in 2026 that allows you to acquire more high-end talent to help Cam Ward. Mm-hmm. And you've made the point, I don't totally agree with it, but you've made the point that the worst thing this team could do would be to exceed expectations and go to the playoffs and then set themselves up with somewhere between pick 18 to 25, and then it gets harder to build this thing up. I'd rather just win now.
I feel you.
And let the chips fall where they may. But that is the beauty of Cam, is he's giving you hope for the future.
Mm-hmm. It is. That was one of the points I was thinking of. I was just like, well, you mentioned this year being a part of it, but I do agree with Joe. I do agree with you. Like winning does matter. Nothing's, well, I'm telling you, and I know you know this too because you're an athlete and competitor yourself. But nothing strikes you more than losing. Heck, we lost in a middle school game last night, and I'm over here just like,
condolences.
Golly, man. But I'm with you. I'm not saying sacrifice putting guys' bodies on the line to lose. I just think with where this team is, it was because of the conversation about the backup quarterback.
You don't want to tank.
I ain't trying.
You're just saying that, like, this team going over its skis for a year.
Yeah.
Could hurt the long-term development of what their rebuild really is.
Exactly. Like if you tell me this team is picking in the top 5 next year, look, I'm okay with letting somebody move up into their 5th position to go back to 10 or 11 to get more capital, to get more players. I'm looking at the investment of it more than just, the right now. But I side with Joe. I side with you too. Like it gives you hope on what the future of this team could be because of what Cam has provided. Even what yesterday was, or his interception, or the fire, or the little small stuff that he's done. It's done that for me as far as watching this team this preseason. Losing sucks. I just want to reiterate that. Okay.
For hope-wise, you got to have some hope in these rookies. Like that Chad and Brinker and Mike Berganzi have actually drafted a good draft. I mean, nobody's played meaningful snaps yet, but Gunnar Helm, that incredible touchdown catch. Alec Ayuman are playing some good snaps, getting good reps with the ones. You have Khalil Mullings. You got the Marcus Harris. Like, they're all playing meaningful snaps in the preseason, and they're actually having good contributions both in practice and in games. I think you can have hope and a good vibe check for what your future could look like there, too.
I would agree. I think Alec Ayuman is the one that's about to play the biggest role right away.
I agree with that. That's separated itself.
I think so. I think they want to get him more on the field with Cam and not Brandon Allen, just to get Cam ready to play with live bullets with Ellick. I want to see more from Chim DK. We haven't seen that explosiveness. We haven't seen the speed on display yet with Chimray DK. It's way too early to be concerned about any lack of production. Games haven't even started yet. So I'm not saying this as there's no warning sign for me yet on DK, but I just want to see more.
Yeah. And either he hasn't provided that with the opportunity he's given, or he hadn't been able to get open. But I'm with you there. I had hope for him being able to take the top off or find himself down the seams, making plays for this team, and it hasn't really shown itself. What we have seen, though, is Alec Ayumanor be in a position to where he's blocked himself into more plays, meaning his run blocking has been really good with the stuff that he's been provided. And when the ball comes his way, when the ball comes his way, he's in a position of making those catches. He's had more explosive plays.
Where is this team still not meeting expectations for you? Is there an area where you have been disappointed by what you've seen on the field by this Titans team?
Corners. And I say this not in a bad way. It is it's the without L'Jarius Sneed side of it. Period. It's without him being available, that takes you to a different realm right there. And that's something that can't be fixed this year, because who's cutting starting caliber corners on any NFL team? And you're not in a position to trade away picks to go get somebody. But I think it's corners. That's the part of it, of this game, I think, that has me a little bit worried, even with some of the guys that have been stepping up as of late. Will, that is probably one of the hardest, if not the hardest, to adjust to. I think franchise left tackles and corners, man, it's hard to find one. We've been talking about edge, or who else? Edge or wide receiver. Heck, top 10 corner would do a whole lot of numbers.
I think that is the second biggest concern I have about this team behind pass rush. But in terms of depth, you're right. There's just not a lot of consistency in the corners behind Sneed. McCreary and Brownlee have been good. I really like the step that Jarvis Brownlee has taken this year. I'd really prefer Jarvis Brownlee to be covering wide receiver 2s and not wide receiver 1s.
Thank you, sir.
Because there's a big difference between covering a Nico Collins and a Jaden Higgins.
Boy.
Or covering a Josh Downs or a Michael Pittman Jr. And that's no disrespect to those 2s. Those are 2 pretty solid number 2s. But in Jacksonville, you have 2 number 1s, and Brian Thomas Jr. and Travis Hunter.
You do.
But you've got to handle. So you're right. L'Jarius Sneed, anything the Titans get from him at this point, I think is a bonus. I'm not counting on much, but they need him.
Bad.
They 100%
bad, man.
615-737-1045. A vibe check for Titans fans. How has training camp and preseason changed your expectations for the 2025 season? More of your phone calls coming up next.
Good people, it is Ramon Foster for the Wellness Institute of Nashville. What I'm going to tell you is important to your health and well-being, man. Simply this. Call my friends at the Wellness Institute of Nashville today. That number is 615-246-5009. And you all know my body took a beating in college and in the professional leagues, man, which is why I trust them to do business, man. Dr. Mitchell and Dr. Ashley, they are in the trenches fighting and to help you win the battle of pain when it comes to your knee and back and neck, man. After speaking with Dr. Ashley, man, she knows an athlete's body and the trauma that your sport or just life can do to you, man, from active athletes needing some help to stay on the field or just your day-to-day regimen. They can help you there, too. She has extensive knowledge and the top-of-the-line equipment to help get you better. Speaking of that top-of-the-line equipment, man, Dr. Mitchell strives to be the best, and I have not seen an equipment or an office that is more robust, even in the pros, man, than what they have going on right now. The goal is to find the best treatment that works for you, from their lasers, state-of-the-art spinal decompression machine, machines, which I've laid down, and man, to even the zero gravity machines that I've used also. They will find the best strategy to help you get better faster without surgeries, man. I'm talking about disc bulges, herniation, spinal stenosis, that neck pain, back pain, tingling down your arms and legs. I'm sure when I said that, you felt that. So start your road to a pain-free life, and it is possible. You can call them today, the Wellness Institute of Nashville, at 615-246-5009 or go to painisbad.com.
Ramona Will, fueled by Scooters Coffee on 104.5 The Zone, and we are back in studio this morning. And we're always on your favorite podcast platform, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, 104.5 The Zone Podcast Network. If you miss any of our conversations, it is free to you to subscribe. Genuinely costs you $0.00. If you're driving around 6, 7 p.m., you got a late work day. Like, man, I don't have any local Titans talk. We got you every day.
Well, you're giving great solutions to problems that people have, man.
Hit the subscribe button for us and leave a review while you're there. It helps us quite a bit, and we appreciate you for that. 615-737-1045. We asked before the break, how has training camp affected your expectations? Where are you at with this Titans team? And how good you think they can be in 2025? Mike is up next. Hey, Mike. Mike, go ahead.
Morning, Mike.
Yeah, hey guys. Yep, sorry guys.
You're good.
I've been calling in probably about every 2 months, since before the draft, kind of keeping up with this progression. And a week before the draft, you guys had 2 really good analysts on that said, one of them said it's all about getting as many of the top 100 picks as possible, and the other one said it's about getting as many of the first 3 rounds, which is about the same thing. So if we're willing, which I am too, if we're willing to accept the fact that, hey, we might only win 5 or 6 games this year, we might have a top, 8 to 10 pick next year. If we were fine with that, we knew the Titans needed all this help. I don't know why we didn't trade the pick and get something like what they got for Travis Hunter and draft a quarterback next year when it's a great year to draft a quarterback. And I just want to put the answer on that real quick and see if you guys agree or disagree. I think the reason why is if we win 5 games this year and don't develop a quarterback, our coach gets fired. But if we can win only 5 or 6 games and he can hang his hat on, hey, look, Cam Ward's getting better, he gets to stay. And I just wanted to know what you guys think about that.
Sure.
Sorry. Yeah.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate the call. I think the trade back thing, Ramon, is interesting because it is something that we both preferred.
Yeah, I agree.
Before we came around on Cam Ward. The second the Titans signed Dan Moore and Kevin Zeitler, I was won over on drafting Cam Ward. My issue with Cam from the draft was always that I thought a bad offensive line would bring out the worst in Cam to where you would get some Will Levis-like mistakes. But the second you filled those holes with immediate solutions, I was on board. Mm-hmm. I was also on board more so, Ramon, when I saw Cam Ward in person for the first time. And I'll be honest, some of the good things that he does show up more significantly when you watch him on field level and in the stadium and in the building, more so than on film. The quick release, the intangibles, the mindset of who he is as a person, Ramon Foster won me over.
Yeah.
I mean, it's that simple. At this point, I do think the Titans made the right choice, even if I didn't, the day they didn't make the trade that was proposed from the Giants, like on draft day, yeah, I would have rather had that. But he's won me over by getting there at 5:30 in the morning, by showing the leadership that he has, by making some of the throws that he has. Like, I'm willing to admit, I think the Titans made the right choice, and my pathway forward was not the right way for them to go.
I agree with you there, too. I think, to your point, that if they had traded those picks back and not got a quarterback or chose a second-tier quarterback, because I think Cam was tier 1 of himself. I don't think there was anybody else in the conversation with him.
Correct.
To be quite fair, I think you do have another reset, and I don't think this, to your point, I don't think this front office wants that moving forward. I don't think Callahan played a part in saying, let me get Cam and let me show that I can win with him so I can save my job. I was going to ask him if that's what he was trying to allude to, but I don't think Callahan had a hand in that. I think this is a collective of Brinker, Borgonzi, and Callahan saying, look, this is the dude for this type of team that we have. And I think we're seeing that, Will, to back up your point. The leadership component, the competitive side of that, I don't think that offense had it. And I don't think much of the team has it the way he does, which is, again, to the yesterday conversation of him and Jeff going back and forth. Like, that's what you're getting with Cam. And I don't think any other quarterback in this upcoming draft or last year's draft possesses that the way he does.
Cam Ward has already shown me enough to win me over. It's that simple for me at this point. And I don't know what that means for 2025, but the things that you can't teach, Ramon, about him give me hope that he can be the franchise guy here for years to come. And the number one part of it is just the level of anticipation that he is already throwing with. That's something that you can either do or you can't do. And unfortunately, the last guy who was the quarterback here couldn't do it. I think this guy can.
Absolutely.
He is throwing guys open. Is he taking a lot of risks and turning the ball over by trying to throw guys open? Yes. But while it is too early to crown him the guy and that you're just totally confident that he's it now, I've seen enough to have hope that he can become that. Let's go to Paul next up on the phone. Say, Paul.
Yeah, hey, guys. Good morning.
Morning.
So just, a little bit. I've been watching ball for about 40 years. I'm a season ticket holder. I don't really know the schematics of the game in terms of the X's and O's. I don't have a playing background, but I watch these games and I get feeling. It's just kind of the way I process the information. When I watch the team this year, I do see the right things in Cam. I would go so far as to say special. I feel like he sees the field well, and it's, I love it. Now, something is wrong, I feel like, with the wide receivers. Number one, I think a lot of people may have said this. I feel like we're leaning on Calvin Ridley too much. And number two, when I see a successful air attack at whatever level of ball, what I see is separation with the wide receivers. How open are those wide receivers? Something's wrong with their wide receiving. I don't know if it's the schematics, but these guys, outside of the occasional throw to Ridley, they don't seem to be that open. And I saw this Kurt Warner video, and I wanted to see if you guys have seen that video.
Yeah, we have.
What I think he's saying is it's poor route design. And I just wanted to see what you guys' thoughts were on that, and that's why I was wanting to call in. But I would love to see guys at least a 7-win season and an upward trajectory. That's what I'm hoping for this year.
Thank you, Paul. Appreciate the call. We did talk about that yesterday, Ramon. Quickly though, to reset it for people who weren't listening, I don't think the deep crosser to Van Jefferson that was dropped. Kurt Warner did a video saying Chimere DK took his route too outside. He's got to come more inside to attract that second middle linebacker to open up space over the top for Jefferson. You made the point yesterday, that's not a play design issue. That's more likely Chimere DK just making a rookie mistake.
It was lack of detail for him. I'm sure his coaches was all over him. You got to step on this guy's feet to make this happen. I could divulge something, but I think I'll wait on that one because I'm not sure if I'm cleared to say that type of intel, okay. But it goes with the...
We'll talk off air.
Yeah, we'll talk. It's the longest yard scenario. Here.
The longest yard?
I'll tell you off air.
Okay.
I can't divulge. I probably should. Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, to the point, though, about separation. That is a concern.
It is.
It 100% is. And that is where we talked about it, Ramon, all offseason. You can't fix everything in one offseason. They have made it more a priority to fix the offensive line before they fix the wide receiving core. And you've got two rookies who are going to play significant time. But I think the caller is right. They are relying too much on Calvin Ridley right now. But that's just the reality of where they are in rebuilding this offense.
That's something we spoke of. Like, everybody was mad at Van Jefferson. Legitimately, I look at that situation and somewhat say, well, that's why I've been of the mindset, well, you want to draft higher if you can go get a high caliber guy. Respectfully.
And they had a lot of things to fix, and they chose edge rusher and safety and the value of what they believe Kevin Winston Jr. is, which early returns are good on that, looking like a pretty good pick.
Yep.
And Fibio Ladejo is going to be more of a project, so you're not going to get his immediate returns there. But they prioritize that and keeping the defense as the better unit on this team healthy, more so than immediately fixing wide receiver. I also think there are probably some guys at wide receiver that they would have been really interested in had they been able to pick them.
And we saw their intent to go get two. They got two still in the draft.
I think Jaden Higgins, the Iowa State guy who got drafted by Houston, would have been a strong possibility had he been available.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. 615-737-1045 is our number. If you missed the practice report from earlier this morning, we will tell you what happened yesterday at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park. A troubling issue for the offense in a little bit of a skirmish between Cam Ward and Jeffrey Simmons. What you missed if you were sleeping in this morning, next.
It's Ramon Foster from Medical House Calls, man. Listen, they're open 7 days a week, 7 days a week, Monday through Sunday, 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Same day appointments are available to you, but next day guaranteed, man. Our lives are chaotic, man. Some of us start the morning super early and we don't end until 7 o'clock. And guess what? You usually don't have time to go to the doctor. But guess what? You can have Medical House Calls come to your home, visit you on your schedule on the day that you want, man. From primary health care to urgent care, IV therapy if you need, medical weight loss is all a part of it. And here's the other part of it too, man. I know some of us fellas just don't like going to the doctor's office in general. You want that confidence and just you being comfortable in your own space, man. But it is convenient, man, for you to have somebody that's on your schedule. Look, you don't want to miss a playoff game. You don't want to deal with sick people in the waiting room. The process is very simple. Call or text this number at 615-838-2375, and they will come to your home. They will book your visit after a quick chat, and they will schedule it for you. Medical providers will be at your door to get you taken care of ASAP. Again, the website is simply medicalhousecalls.com. 7 days a week, man, 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. And their number, you can call or text them, is 615-838-2375. Guys, you already know Synergix and Low T Center, man, have been changing the lives of men across the country for over a decade. Testosterone replacement therapy has helped men get their energy back, regain confidence, save their marriages, and help overcome symptoms associated with depression. It's truly life-changing, man. Did you know that women with hormonal imbalances experience many of the same symptoms of men with low T also? Guys, and you know how frustrating this can be. But for the first time ever, Low T Center is now offering hormone replacement therapy for women. Low T doesn't just affect the guys. In fact, testosterone can benefit women as well. Other treatment options are available to help women balance their hormones and bring back their lives, okay? With in-center and at-home treatment options available for women, find out which one is right for you when you speak to one of their providers about injections, topical creams, or pellets. Ladies can come to any center, get a test, and that includes a four hormone panel and further analysis to treat the whole patient. And looking at the lab results and how you feel to create a personalized hormone therapy plan just for you. Again, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to get your life back, man, and just start feeling better about yourself. Your hormones, the way you feel, can affect you. But to book an appointment, head over to fixmylowt.com today. Again, the website is fixmylowt.com, and you'll be glad you did.
It is 8:03. Good morning, live from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Justin Hawkins. The Tennessee Titans back on the practice field again today at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park after a chippy day yesterday that saw Cam Ward and defensive tackle Jeffrey Simmons get into a tussle after Ward celebrated a touchdown pass to Calvin Ridley. Practice will begin this morning starting at around 10 a.m., and head coach Brian Callahan will meet with us next hour with the media ahead of practice at 9:45. In NFL news yesterday, the Miami Dolphins are signing four-time Pro Bowl edge rusher Matthew Judon to a one-year, $6 million max value. The Cleveland Browns have announced that 40-year-old quarterback Joe Flacco will be the Browns' opening day starter week 1 against the Bengals. And Los Angeles Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford has returned to the practice field for the first time this summer after experiencing an aggravated disc and soreness in his back. Also in college football news, the Associated Press released their preseason All-American first team yesterday. Tennessee Vols cornerback Jamad McCoy was the lone Vol that made the list. Clemson quarterback Cade Klubnik headlines, and Texas and Penn State each had 3 players making the list. SEC dominates once again, having 12 of the 27 players listed. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Second half of the show, Ramon and Will, fueled by Scooters Coffee on 104.5 The Zone. Download that Scooters Coffee mobile app. Check them out. Locally owned in Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. We've got a fresh pot of caramelicious Scooters Coffee going this morning.
Yeah, we do.
And I'm feeling a little bit under the weather, but this makes me feel at least back to normal. Good caffeine in my system, Ramon Foster.
When coffee hit that sweet spot of warm but not like super hot, it's the best thing.
It's fantastic.
Yes, it is.
Go by and see them all around Middle Tennessee. Amazing people, amazing drinks, amazingly fast. In 15 minutes, VolQuest's Austin Price joins us. We will dive into a big announcement by Tennessee football over the weekend that Joey Aguilar is QB1 as first reported by VolQuest. I'm curious, Ramon, how long Joey Aguilar's leash is. Like, how big was the gap between Joey and Jake Merklinger? We'll ask Austin Price about that coming up here in 15 minutes. But yesterday, Ramon Foster, Jeffrey Simmons shoved Cameron Ward, after practice. And it was after Cameron first put hands on Jeff. A touchdown throw at the end of a red zone period to Calvin Ridley. A little bit of pushing and shoving, the offense and the defense coming together, a tussle. We are refusing to use the word fight because nobody threw punches. Nobody would have been thrown out of a game for anything that happened. But, Ramon, the quarterback wears a red non-contact jersey for a reason. What did you make of yesterday's end-of-practice skirmish?
I loved it. Absolutely enjoyed the conversation that's been had around this just to see people's perspective. Cam is a very protected commodity on the football field and in this city. Cameron, I mean, it's very protected. I feel like especially in this city of Nashville because of how he's been undercovered, not covered, I guess, nationally, and the disrespect I feel like they've had. So there's a feeling of belonging to him when you speak about Cameron Ward. And then Jeff's also the villain. All right, but what I will say is this. Cam started it. Big Jeff finished it. And that's the way it kind of goes sometimes. I do look at this and say, I don't think much of it other than the fact that you got two very competitive guys that chose to go at one another. However the practice was, and you said yesterday it was kind of spotty with drops and stuff like that in the practice, and the offense finally got the defense. And what did Cameron do? He went and picked on the biggest bully on the field. And I absolutely love that. Also, what I would tell Cameron Ward is this. Keep your hands to yourself. You can mock me all you want to, but the moment you touch me is the moment you're going to get a reaction, especially on the football field like that. I don't know what the shove was or the touching was, but it was something enough to tick Big Jeff off enough to where he reacted. And I like that from Jeff, too, because when he starts to fold is the moment he probably feels like he's lesser than as a player, too.
I think the issue is just that Jeffrey Simmons put his hands on the quarterback, and that can just be all it is, right? That shouldn't happen, but there is no larger systemic problem with Jeffrey Simmons and Cam Ward that needs to be ironed out. It's just one moment that I think went a little bit too far, and that just couldn't be the end of it. Mm-hmm. It was one moment. Now, obviously, for Jeff, it's not just one moment because Jeffrey Simmons makes a habit of being in the middle of situations like this. But, Ramon, what I would say to that is you need one of those guys on your team, and that's just the reality of being a football team.
Yeah,
everybody's got that one guy that pushes the line a little bit too far, that plays through the echo of the whistle, and I'm all right with that being a part of Jeffrey Simmons' game as a whole.
Absolutely.
I think it draws you penalties. I think it sets the tone for the entire defense. I don't think it's a big issue. Yes, I think that Jeffrey Simmons has got to think before he puts his hands at the quarterback because there is a reason why Cam's jersey is red and everyone else's is white or light blue, Titan blue. But at the end of the day, nobody on that team, in terms of veterans, has been more of a big brother and mentor to Cam Ward than Jeffrey Simmons. I see it every week on the field in preseason. Those two guys are joint at the hip on the sideline, Ramon. Mm-hmm. There is not something that needs to be overblown about them having a fractured relationship or being at odds. Those two are quite close.
Yeah.
And I think so close that Cam felt close enough to Jeff to where he could put his hands on him, which started this whole thing. So it is what it is. It's one thing at the end of practice. Yes, it is a habit of Jeffrey Simmons, but I don't think it's something we need to really overreact to.
TK says in our YouTube chat, y'all can follow us there and watch us and listen to us too on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, Twitch also. But he says Chris Jones ain't touching Mahomes in KC, I bet you. Patrick Mahomes ain't touching Chris Jones.
But it's
either.
Also, Patrick Mahomes isn't Cam Ward. You earn that level of respect that Cam is trying to actively earn, but Cam Ward ain't Patrick Mahomes.
No, he ain't. We're talking about two different people right here.
Let's not do that.
And again, I think what it was done in jest. It was fun. I think this is phenomenal. Again, to see both of these guys go at each other. Again, Jeff's been the only one on this team in the last 2, maybe 3 years that's had this type of attitude. To see it be Cam push back at somebody, you should be over the moon about this. I would also tell Cam too, Cam, that is also a fine. That is a penalty to go in somebody's face and taunt them. So there's a lesson for him also in this. There's so much to be gotten out of this, but you know what the ultimate thing is, Will? They became closer because of this. If you look back at that tape and from whatever all the reports have been, is everybody got involved with the don't touch my quarterback, and that's supposed to happen.
Right.
That is also supposed to happen. But also, to your point, I'm sure that made the defense step it up a little bit more.
Sure.
Like, this is football.
Cam learned where the line was.
He did.
With Jeff.
He did.
Just don't touch him.
Don't touch him.
Not in those moments.
And that's the thing. I'm sure you've picked on or, to have some stuff with your brother Wes. You know what I'm saying? It's just like,
I don't know. We're basically twins 12 years apart. We're not the best example. Okay. Wes and I didn't really fight at all.
All right, well, me and my brother Renardo, who I grew up with together.
We were far enough in age to where it just wasn't. I didn't grow up that way. He was so much bigger than me.
He would drive me, and I would drive him. And we found that time where we were wrestling, and the house was making a whole lot of noise behind it. And from that point, we knew the line from there. This is normal.
RJ, next up on the phone, 615-737-1045. Go ahead, RJ.
What up, RJ?
What's going on, Savage, man? Appreciate y'all taking my call.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Check me out now. Check me out. He got the red jersey on, right? But, hey, keep your hands to yourself, like Savage said. Listen, I got 3 daughters, and they getting into the dating age.
Ooh.
And I'm telling them, I don't care how mad you get at him. I don't care what he do. Don't put your hands on him because he might put his hands back on you. And that's all I got to say. Keep your hands and feet to yourself, man. Everybody do that, and then we won't be having this conversation. Man,
put the seatbelt on and ride the ride. That's all we asking you to do at that point.
Thank you, RJ. Appreciate the call.
So Cam's at fault on this one,
I think they're both at fault.
Oh, 100%. I didn't want to make it sound like it was the one-sided because it's the culprit that everybody loves to go at, Jeff. Oh, he's reacting. He's not supposed to. If you're trying to punk me, there's absolutely no way I'm allow that. And I ain't saying Cam was trying, so I think Cam was playing.
You just can't touch him.
Yeah, Cam was playing. And he played a little bit too much.
Duck on YouTube says it's also hotter than Hades. The heat raises tempers too.
Yeah.
This is where you get the age-old adage, guys are tired of hitting each other. They want to go hit somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Fair
We
enough.
used to call this stuff like a sensitivity tap. Like you see somebody mad and pray, you tap them on the shoulder. Like, don't do that. Please don't do that. People get mad. It's almost just like the the little circle game when you put your hand out, somebody look into the circle, and you smack them. Like sometimes you might smack somebody and they go a little bit too far. Like this is nothing to me. I think there's more positive out of this than it is negative.
Coming up, VolQuest's Austin Price. The latest out of Knoxville is next.
Work. It's what we do. Part of who we are. There is joy in work. And no matter what size your business is, the dedicated commercial team at Two Rivers Ford will find the work trucks and vans that keep your business moving. And Two Rivers is the only dealer that offers a 90-day free fleet management program that can help you save money on every single mile. The Commercial Vehicle Center at Two Rivers Ford. We work for you.
Locally owned in Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. Amazing people, amazing drinks, amazingly fast. We are fueled by Caramelicious Scooter's Coffee this morning. When the glass breaks, Austin Price joins us. VolQuest in on 3, as there is a ton to get to this morning. Oh, I feel like we say that every time we talk with Austin and Brent, but it is always true. What's going on, Austin? How are you?
Hey, Oss.
I'm doing great, guys. How are you doing?
We're good. I'm going to warn you on the front end. Your Harry Houdini act probably not going to work today, considering it's Savion Hyder Day and there's rumblings about Tristan Keys and Adidas. We got a QB1 that's been announced that we'll start with, but Austin, a lot of recruiting nuggets for us to dive into this morning.
Hey, what's our out time for the segment?
39.
Okay, well, I can Josh Heupel and filibuster for the next 17 minutes.
I should have given you a different number.
On Joey Aguilar.
That is absolutely right. The big news coming, of course, over the weekend, first reported by our friends at VolQuest, of course, Austin. What did Joey Aguilar show that made him the guy? What do you think ultimately made the difference, and how much did the final scrimmage over the weekend really put him over the edge?
The last scrimmage, I think, really put him over the edge because he was able to functionally run the offense at the pace they want. And, Hubs and I were standing outside the complex, and there was multiple players that walked outside the complex, either talking to each other or talking on the phone to people, talking about how impressive Joey was in the scrimmage and just how, the pacing of the offense was crisp. He performed really, really well. He threw the ball extremely well, and it was already heading that way anyways, but I think that just solidified it with how he performed, last Friday in the final scrimmage, especially when you factor in that, he wasn't playing with his full complement of weapons, and none of the quarterbacks were, and he was able to perform at a high level.
So, Austin, how far is the gap in your mind between Joey and Jake? We had a commenter yesterday say, what if Jake is this year's Hendon Hooker, and just because he didn't win the battle, could he take it back over if Joey struggles? How much of a leash do you think Joey gets based on how far ahead he is from Jake Merklinger and even the freshman George McIntyre?
In my opinion, Will, he's going to get a decent leash here. I don't think that this is something where, if he's sitting there and they've got 3 points late in the first half, Josh Heupel knee-jerks it and says, we got to get somebody else in there. I think he'll, he will give him ample time to run things. And, if we're talking about, the number of games that the offense sputters, then I think you would look at a quarterback change. But I think he'll have a decent amount of rope going into the season with Joey Aguilar.
So not like Hugh Freeze is saying in Auburn is what you're telling me.
Well, I mean, 3 quarterbacks, 3 different play callers. I mean, it's, I joked on our podcast today on VolQuest that, I think this was all Hugh's wife's idea to get out of Auburn. Let's put something crazy out there and they'll fire us and we'll just take the buyout.
I said that to Will earlier. I was like, hey, just say you want the buyout.
I mean, that's a better way than using burner phones, because I think Hugh's wife would actually be in on this plan to get out. Spot the lie there. Anyway, go ahead.
Austin ain't touching that one.
I mean, listen, I just that just seems like a divorce that's going to happen, right? Like, it just does not feel like it's going to last.
I agree.
Long term. Now, again, there's been a few instances over the years where it looked like somebody was headed for a divorce, and then a player comes in and plays really, really well and kind of saves that coach's bacon, and maybe that happens in this instance, but he's going to have to perform well this year, and the team's going to have to perform well if Hugh Freeze will be back at Auburn, in my opinion, in 2026.
Billy Napier all over again.
Mm-hmm.
Austin, when you end up picking a quarterback that's in a competition like this, what has mattered more? Is it the decisiveness and playmaking? Is it the down the field, or is it the teammates that just like the guy and the calmness that he have in the pocket? How do you think Coach Heupel and his staff got to picking the individual, you know what I'm saying, when it comes down to it? Because Will brought up, Hendon versus Joe. I think the team saw another part of it, or Coach finally realized that Hendon was the better pick. So how do you get here to this point to name Joey Aguilar?
Well, I think it's a combination of everything you just mentioned. I don't think it's just one thing. I don't think it's just the team, although I do think the team really likes Joey a lot. And I think that's kind of where you got to in this process was, they loved how he kind of he came in, he put his head down, he went to work. I mean, he's not really done many interviews. He's just kind of been learning of the team, the coaches, the program, the city, everything, and just enjoying being here. And I think that's probably the biggest thing is he just kind of went about things the right way and went about things as a mature kid. He's 24. I mean, listen, the only comparison I can make to Hendon is the fact they're both older. I mean, Hendon was 24. He is 24. And, I think that helps him because he just looks at things. He's been through things. He's played a lot of football. And you're just at a different point in life when you're 24 years old versus when you're 20 years old or 19 years old or 18 years old. So I think that has helped him throughout the competition. But it's the team. It's how he's picked things up, how he's improved. Yes, he makes a mistake or two. He learns from it. He doesn't make the same mistake to this point. And, again, you're not going to know for sure on the quarterback and or the receivers until you get out there and you play. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the unknown about this team. That's why this team's ranked where they're ranked. That's why this team is, kind of thought of as an afterthought to a degree to some by a lot of people, by a lot of national media people, because they look at the production they lost last year on both sides of the ball, whether it's James Pierce on defense, first-round pick, Omar Norman-Lott, same thing, high draft pick in day two, or on offense, the SEC Offensive Player of the Year in Dylan Sampson. Nico's gone after spring. It's easy to kind of just cherry pick it and go, Tennessee's not going to be very good. And they might not be, but you don't know because there are certain positions that I think, arguably they are more talented at, but they're not proven at all. And I've only got to make it 10 more minutes as I filibuster here to get out of this segment without having to talk about recruiting.
I feel like I got some good stuff to ask you aside from recruiting. But, Austin, you say all that is – it sounds to me like the older days, like from the early 2000s before the portal was a thing, when you had new starters and you had a new quarterback and you had new issues that had to be solved throughout the course of the year. I think the transfer portal has skewed people's perspective on the continuation of being good. I think this is okay to live a life like this because it's a new experience for Coach Heupel to figure out a new quarterback, new running back, and also who's going to be starting on the new offensive line for this team. I don't think this is a bad thing, Austin. It's just growth as a coach, I feel like.
Well, I think for me, how many times over the last 2-3 years have people clamored for the young guys to play? Why is Mark Matthews not playing? Right. Why is this guy not playing? Why is that guy not playing? Well, they're going to play him this year because they changed philosophies back in December. They didn't go to the portal a lot. They went for a few guys, but, they didn't live in the portal. You could argue they probably should have went to the portal for receivers because they don't have very many of them. But, you're going to shove a lot of these young kids to the field, whether it's true freshmen like Rodarius Jackson, Travis Smith, and those type players, DeJuan Morris, or it's redshirt freshmen who, redshirted a year ago or played, the minimum of 4 or no more, and they're basically shoving them into deep end and saying swim. I like that because there is talent on the football team. It's younger talent. It's inexperienced talent, but it's still talent. And I think sometimes coaches at the college level can bury younger talent going to the portal for a guy who, may have done a little bit more than the younger kid did just because he was at a different school with different opportunities. But he's not as talented as that kid, but all of a sudden, he's played, so he's going to play over the kid that's got talent. Like, that happens. And I think the change of philosophy could prove to be a big one for this program this fall.
Austin Price of On Quest and On 3, our guest this morning on Ramon and Will. Austin, do you think this offensive line can be better as a unit than it was last year? Is that a fair take? Because I feel like Lance Hurd's health this offseason is a big storyline at left tackle that maybe we have not, as a show and as a media talking about Tennessee, have discussed enough.
I think that the offensive line is a better unit overall. They're a little bit deeper, and I think they're more talented than they were a year ago. Lance Hurd really just, I think, kind of kicked it in gear this offseason. He's done a fantastic job of losing the proper weight. You know, he's still big, but he's not too big. He's really dialed in. He's focused. The coaches are saying all the right things about Lance Hurd right now based off of his off-season production, his off-season work. And he's the leader of this offensive line. And then you look, what's going to be beside of him? Whoa is what they call him on the team. But Wendell Moy is super athletic, really freaky for a kid his size and build, and to have the amount of twitch he has at the guard spot. Sam Pendleton, Kevin Pendleton's the offensive line QC. Sam Pendleton will be your center. Jesse Perry from Middle Tennessee Christian School, redshirt freshman, will be your right guard, in my opinion, and then David Sanders at right tackle. And so, you know, Lance Hurd's got to be the leader of this team. He's been here, he's done that, and it feels like he grew up a lot this offseason, what I think is a contract year for him, because if he plays well and plays like he's capable, could be off to the NFL at the end of the year with a good year.
I love the long pauses here, Austin. You're doing a real good job, man. Keep it up with just filibustering here. Okay?
All right, the time has come.
Yeah.
It is commitment day for Savion Hyder, the number one running back in the country.
It's a big day. We're going to Franklin, Tennessee tonight.
That's right.
We got that. We got the big orange. We got the big orange night down there at the Franklin Theater, and you're going to MC it. Brent Hubbs and Grant Ramey and myself will be there, and you know, it's gonna be fun times. What are you taking me out to eat afterwards?
We got a lot of options down there in Franklin. That is why it's a big night, not because of Savion Hyder's commitment, Austin. That's nothing to do with that.
There's a place in Franklin that's got a great pork chop.
All right, you stop helping him filibuster, all right? Savion Hyder's going to commit here in a couple of hours.
We have 6 minutes.
Austin Price, what is your feeling on Hyder? I know this has been an old school recruitment where not a lot of interviews have been done since, as Brent said with us Friday, Matt Ray talked with him last October. What are the tea leaves saying about Savion Hyder today?
Yeah, I mean, the tea leaves would tell you that it's probably going to be Michigan. I'm yet to totally close the door on Tennessee because he and the family have continued to talk to Tennessee over the last few days. But like you start to look at things like, Michigan, E.J. Holland, who works for our Michigan side, he's going to be there. Now, regionally, he's a little more conducive to going than we are because he doesn't live in Michigan. He lives out of Michigan, and so he can get to Virginia a little bit easier because he lives closer. But he'll be there, and he seems like he's probably got a little better feel for this recruitment than I do because, Savion does not talk. He certainly doesn't talk to me or Matt or anybody else that covers Tennessee. So, again, I just be going off the tea leaves of that. It reads Michigan to me. But, again, he has continued to have a lot of dialogue with Tennessee the last 48 hours or so. And with that said, you'd have to think that, Tennessee's at least got a puncher's chance going into the day for a kid who, wanted to have his moment. It seems very off-brand to do some of the things that have happened over the last 72 hours when you factor in that, the fans have kind of figured out he follows a lot of Michigan people on his Instagram and not as many Tennessee people and little things like that. We'll see. Again, he'll come up here in a couple hours. He announces around 11:15, 11:30 Eastern time on his Instagram, and we'll see does he follow through with kind of everybody's long thought to be a leader Michigan, or does Tennessee pull a surprise on this Tuesday morning?
So, Austin, from a very old school recruitment to, with all due respect, a pretty new school recruitment with Tristan Keys, with a lot of photo shoots and an early commitment and a lot of talking, and nothing wrong with that. That's 2025 in recruitment. How much has the Adidas deal moved the needle for Tristan Keys, who's got an NIL deal with Adidas, and now Tennessee's Adidas? Has that helped maybe Tennessee make up some ground on LSU? Where are you at and some of the new rumors and developments with Tristan Keys in Tennessee?
As I said last night in our Monday night chat, I don't think it hurts, but at the same time, I don't think it's a make or break situation because most of these deals that Adidas does with these high school kids are really through their high school career. And then, if they end up going to an Adidas school, there's obviously opportunities there to continue it on, but they don't have to. And so, again, I don't think it hurts.
I've long said I did not feel like he was going to end up at LSU. And I've long said Tennessee seems to have the best relationships with him long term. So, 2 and 2 is 4 for me that I like Tennessee's chances in the long game. The question is when does he do anything? And, Tristan, may do a little bit of talking behind the scenes. He don't do a lot of talking as far as interviews though.
Right.
And so, that's something that I think everybody's kind of got their eyes on is what does he do? I would tell you if he's going to do anything anytime soon, it would probably be before his season starts, which is I think next Friday, not this Friday, next Friday. And after that, then I think you're looking at a lot of visits this fall and probably visits this fall no matter what happens, no matter who he, if he let's say he decided to pick Texas A&M or Tennessee before next week, I think he's going to take visits to all these schools this fall and go through the process. So a long way to go in this one, regardless of how it goes down, whether he stays committed to LSU, doesn't stay committed to LSU over the next couple of weeks. I think this one is one that'll go all the way till December.
Man, we're joined by Austin Price of VolQuest on 3. Austin, I have to get you away from recruiting real quick and take you straight over to Danny White's lane, okay? There was just an email sent out that there's going to be a 4% increase in total cost of tickets. On top of that, a 10% talent fee added to the cost of the contribution and ticket, while also a city entertainment tax at 13.75% on the cost of tickets. What are Vol fans supposed to do with people that want to go consume this? Why? I guess I would ask is the other part of this.
Why go up in price?
Yeah.
Because that's what happens with everything, right? I mean, my Peter Millar shirts don't cost the same as they did 10 years ago. Listen, as long as there's a demand, as long as there's, a full stadium,
yep.
I mean, I think you're always going to see the tickets, have a trend up. And it just kind of the price of doing business. It's a arms race for money. It's just like, Tennessee going to Adidas. Like it's about the dollar because you've got to have money to be able to fund the NIL part of all this until there's collective bargaining, Ramon.
Yeah.
Then you're going to have these same type of decisions made across the country. It's not just a Tennessee thing. It's, Ohio State and several others that are going to raise ticket prices by 4%, 5%, 2%, whatever. They're going to have talent fees. They're going to make decisions on the apparel based off of who gives them the best financial deal to be able to get their kids more money, to get better players, to get better rosters, to have championship-level teams. And so I think for Danny White, it's not that he's trying to stick it to anybody. I know everybody just goes that way. I think it's just more of like, how can we functionally continue to compete at the level we want to compete at and be the, quote, everything school in this era and do it the most cost-effective way. And I think that this is the way he feels like it has to go down, because obviously they are doing revamps to Neyland Stadium and revamps to the arena and revamps to baseball. And then you're trying to also get, the players on your roster good NIL money to keep them on your roster or to bring them in as recruits. So I think it's just one of those things where this goes on everywhere, but because you're sitting here looking at it from a Tennessee fan perspective, like I couldn't tell you if Alabama's ticket prices went down, went up, stayed the same. Same thing with Georgia or anybody else because I'm not in that arena. We all see what Tennessee does and how it works here because it's in our face every day. If I lived in Idaho, I wouldn't know what is happening here. Right. So, I mean, what is happening at these schools? I saw similar complaints about Ohio State raising ticket prices and so on and so forth. So I think for Tennessee, it's just about trying to figure out the best way to functionally run the athletic department in a way that, the players benefit from this era where they make money and you can still have quality rosters that can compete for championships on the field or on the court.
He is Austin Price of VolQuest on 3. You can join him, Brent Hubbs, Grant Ramey, and myself tonight. Williamson County UT Alumni Chapter, Franklin Theater. Tickets, I'll tweet out the link here in a minute. Going to be a fun event. Austin, I will see you tonight. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Oz.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you. Ramon, be there. Make sure he pays $20, Ramon.
I got you.
A dub. I got it.
I'll talk him into it. Thank you, Austin. Appreciate the call. All right. Some good stuff there I want to react to in hour 4. We'll get back to it at 9:20 on the difference between Joey Aguilar and the other QBs. I think there's some nuggets there from Austin that we learned this morning that we'll get back to. But, Ramon, there was something that nostalgic sports fans loved last night on ESPN. If you weren't watching it because you were asleep like I was when it was on, Rich Eisen hosted SportsCenter last night and brought something fantastic back. We'll talk about that next.
It's wow. Well, did I just hit puberty or
Getting
something?
choked up about Window Nation.
Yeah, man. As I tried to send them to Cincinnati earlier, though. But it's Ramon and Will here for Window Nation, man. Just telling you, we know it's been hot. This week has been hot, man. And you've been trying to keep your house cool and comfortable. One way to do that, man, is through windows. You can replace your old or builder-grade windows with custom-built, high-quality windows from Window Nation. The best thing about it, man, is Window Nation makes sure that it's done correctly. They measure 3 times to ensure your windows fit perfectly to keep your home comfortable year-round. Their installation crews will also finish a job in 1 day or less, so you can enjoy the rest of the summer with minimum disruption.
And you can enjoy a quality product that is put in your home the right way. Window Nation offers a lifetime warranty on all their windows, so you can relax knowing your home is protected far into the future. This month, get 50% off all window styles, put 0 down, make 0 payments, and pay 0 interest for 2 years. Yeah, you can pay nothing until 2027. You need Window Nation. 866-90-NATION. You go online, windownation.com. Again, the number, 866-90-NATION, online at windownation.com.
What's the biggest mistake you can make when selling your home? I'll tell you, you have your neighbors mad at you and everything, man, but it's settling for less. That never happens with Orchard, though. Disappointing offers, man, it can simply wear you down, causing you to settle for less. You don't have to settle whenever you sell with Orchard, man. Orchard reinvented the real estate industry by guaranteeing your home sale and helping you sell on the market for top dollar. First, Orchard gives you cash up front so you can buy and move into your new home. On your timeline, no waiting, no showings, no double moves. Then, once you're all settled in, an Orchard agent helps sell your home on the market for top dollar. Here's what one Orchard customer had to say. I never could have sold without Orchard. I made way more than I expected, and I couldn't have been any easier. With Orchard, you never settle for less. Buy before you sell and get top dollar for your home with Orchard. If you're curious on how much your home is worth, simply visit orchard.com to get your free home valuation. Again, the website is orchard.com.
Are you trapped in a high-rate mortgage, watching your hard-earned money vanish every month? Stop. Right now at Loan Pronto, they are delivering the lowest mortgage rates in 3 years. Hey, it's Will Boulding. Loan Pronto's rate reduction home loan program is a streamlined, low-cost way to slash your house payments by hundreds of dollars a month. Lock in a fixed rate as low as 4.99% APR and close in as little as 2 weeks. No appraisal needed in most cases. And here's the kicker. You can skip your next 2 house payments entirely. Don't wait. Rates this low won't last. Call Loan Pronto now for your free, no-obligation quote. Loan Pronto is amazing. Imagine lower payments, more money in your pocket, and a fresh start with a better mortgage. Call 615-499-5780 or visit loanpronto.com to lock in your new low rate and skip those next 2 payments. Don't let high rates hold you back. Call 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com right now. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781. Subject to lender approval, NMLS consumeraccess.org. Ramona Will, fueled by Scooters Coffee on 104.5 The Zone. Ramon Foster and Will Bowling wrapping up hour number 3 this morning. 615-737-1045 is the number. Rich Eisen hosted SportsCenter last night. That's
Rich
something that in most of my lifetime I haven't been able to say or watch.
Wow.
First time, I believe, in 22 years since 2003. I know Justin's spinning some plates back there with some stuff that is not working the way it's supposed to. Do we have this audio of Rich Eisen on SportsCenter last night?
No, you have to give me a minute.
Okay. That's all good. Not your fault.
So ESPN went and got that old thing back is what you're telling me,
It did. ESPN Direct-to-Consumer is changing a lot of the ways that they do programming, a lot of the things that they are investing time and money in, and Rich Eisen being a part of the ESPN umbrella again. I mean, I guess just a opportunity for him to get back on the desk, and his show now within the ESPN Direct-to-Consumer umbrella, kind of a launch to be able to promote that and all these things. But it was pretty fantastic the way they pulled this off, and with the old music, with the just all of it, this felt like old SportsCenter again.
Yeah.
Which is something that I know most of us who have watched SportsCenter want back. This was late last night on a post-Monday Night Football SportsCenter with Rich Eisen.
Tonight on SportsCenter, the preseason Monday Nighters certainly did not disappoint in D.C. While an old D.C. star powered up the Phillies against the Mariners twice. In Pittsburgh, Paul Skeens actually got runs, 2 of them. Was it enough against Toronto? But really, sometimes you gotta keep it simple and direct.
Why didn't you go down?
I wanted to score.
This show is all about strolling down memory lane. No, not about having hair. It's about throwing a whole bunch at you while having an old school good time. So stay tuned and don't flip out. SportsCenter is next.
Wow. There's more to it where he just introduces it, but that's all right. You got the gist of it. It felt like old school SportsCenter. Felt like the good old days of ESPN.
That's impressive right there, man. I absolutely will tune into that one, Will.
It was highlights. It was the old music. It was a voice that you trust. It was a lot of great things that I want more of from ESPN. It's not going to be normal. It's not something that is going to happen regularly. So Rich Eisen's show is going to be carried by ESPN in the same way Pat McAfee's show is carried by ESPN.
Okay.
So whether or not he is ultimately a full-time employee just depends on what you view full-time. Like his show is going to be on ESPN full-time, but it doesn't necessarily mean that he is an ESPN employee again. This was a fun trip down memory lane, and I want more of it.
Yeah, I'll take that one. That one sounded good. I'm sure the optics of it look good. I hadn't seen a video of his intro, but does it have like the grainy look to it, or is it like, it does. Yep. It does have the grainy look to it.
I'll retweet it right now at Ramon and Will of the old school graphics package and the music. I mean, like you used to tune into SportsCenter in the morning to see highlights of what happened the night before. Not get a round table on how something in sports is going to affect the NFC East to the Dallas Cowboys.
Listen to me. Before the bus would run in the morning, it was on. Like, that's the way we consumed ESPN.
And I think it's interesting because we see these highlights on our phones now. So there obviously isn't as much of a need of really seeing highlights again to learn what happened. But I would still rather see the highlights again with legitimate analysis versus opinion-based roundtables that I can get in digital media in a more impactful and analytical way than I can on ESPN. Like shows like First Take are dying because I can get boots on the ground reporting in the podcast space from people who are actually experts, not people who are at 30,000 feet like Stephen A. Smith who miss, like unless it's the NBA, I think Stephen A. Smith is an expert on the NBA because it's what he's covered through his entire career. I could care less about Stephen A. Smith's thoughts of the Cowboys and the Eagles and the Giants.
Man,
it's performance art.
I do think in that era where they was trying to transition to something new in sports, I do think what they had with Skip and with Stephen A. was phenomenal. I think that's what they started to seek out even more. They made personalities bigger than the actual sports were. They made the conversation around the sports bigger than the actual game was. And I think what they are realizing now is that fans actually care about the game.
We just won sports.
We want to see
that's all it is.
You describe what happened because, well, I may not have seen a Washington football game. I may not have seen USC, but I'll tell you this. When I turned on ESPN, going to class in college, we were watching the highlights what Reggie Bush did the next day in the training room. Like, it's that part of it that I feel like now us who growing up want to have a little bit more of that instead of the conversation. Man, we go back and forth on social media all day long. I'm tired of the debate sometimes. Like, Give me the rawness of the sport.
If I want opinions and debate, I'll go to an expert on a podcast before I'll go to SportsCenter for that.
Yeah.
I don't care if I've seen the highlight already. I'll watch it again. I mean, honestly.
We watched it over and over again.
100%.
But that's also how the legend of those guys grew, too. Like, there's that side of it, man, and I don't think they appreciate it enough.
I have a lot of respect for Stephen A. Smith and First Take, and anyone who listens to this show knows I think Stephen A. is supremely talented.
He's
and
surgical.
He is a performer.
Yeah.
But if I want legitimate sports talk, I'm not going to ESPN for that in the way it's currently been constructed in terms of their morning programming and the way that all works. We love nostalgic things in sports that take us back to earlier times in our lives. And sometimes I think we over-glorify things the way they used to be. This is one area, though, where I don't think we're overreacting. I want so much more of just old SportsCenter highlights and the way things were. And Scott Van Pelt has stayed true to that in the way he does his show. But that was good.
One of the best sports logos out there, nationally, SVP.
Yep. Yeah, 100%. 100%. Coming up, really interesting stuff from ESPN's Teron Davenport and Jeremy Fowler. This morning at ESPN.com, I will give credit to this part of ESPN and Teron, who is as good as it gets in the market. Have the Titans learned from Caleb Williams and Bryce Young issues? The headline of an article, a deep dive into the Titans' plan to develop Cam Ward that dropped this morning. We're going to take a read of this, a quick read through the break, and react to it because there's some really interesting nuggets in here that we'll talk about coming up next.
It's Ramon Foster for Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Good people, man. Nobody wants to deal with a plumbing, HVAC, or an electrical emergency. I've dealt with them. I'm sure you have also. One of the worst things about it is you don't know what it's going to cost if it'll get fixed right, or if somebody's just trying to sell you something you do not need. I hate that last part more than anything. And anytime I've called Hiller, though, they fix stuff exactly as I needed it, man. When I get my HVAC system service, they do that and they leave. They do a great job and they do it quickly. Also with them, the price that you're told is always actually the price that you're going to pay. There are no hidden fees or surprises when you get your bill. Hiller has been in business for over 35 years and are family owned and operated. Their techs are always very professional, experienced, and trustworthy. And if it matters to you, they're always background checked and drug screened too. When they're on their way, you'll receive a photo of that tech and a link to track them in real time, so you're not waiting around for them to show up and it's hours later. No, you can actually track them in real time. Their motto is, happy you'll bill, the service is free, and they absolutely mean that. If you have a problem with Hiller, they will do everything they can to make it right or just simply give you your money back. To learn more about Hiller or to book with them, visit the website that I use at happyhiller.com.
It is 9:02. Good morning, live from the 104.5 The Zone studios. I'm Justin Hawkins. The Titans are back on the practice field today at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park as it gets underway in just about an hour at 10 a.m. And head coach Brian Callahan will meet with the media, and we will cover that right here on the show coming up at 9:45. In NFL news, the Miami Dolphins are signing four-time Pro Bowl edge rusher Matthew Judon to a one-year, $6 million max value. The Cleveland Browns have announced that 40-year-old quarterback Joe Flacco will be the Browns' opening day starter Week 1 against the Cincinnati Bengals. And Los Angeles Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford returned to the practice field yesterday for the first time this summer after experiencing an aggravated disc and soreness in his back. Also in college football news, the Associated Press released their preseason All-American first-team list yesterday. Tennessee Vols cornerback Jermod McCoy was the lone Vol that made the list. Clemson quarterback Cade Klubnik headlines, and Texas and Penn State each having 3 players making the list. And, of course, the SEC dominates once again, having 12 of the 27 players on the list. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Fourth and final hour, 9 a.m. in Nashville. This is Ramon and Will. Fueled up by Scooter's Coffee. We got a caramelicious pot of coffee going here in our kitchen. You're welcome to the rest of Cumulus Nashville employees up here. Not only do you have better tasting coffee this morning, because we got more of the caramelicious in, it also smells like caramel, Ramon Foster. That's a great thing.
It does.
Ramon Foster, Will Bowling, Justin Hawkins, 615-737-1045. You, too, can have some Scooter's Coffee in your life this morning by going to Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. Ramon, we got some nuggets to talk about.
We do, man. Some nuggies.
I don't mean chicken. A piece at ESPN.com posted this morning by friend Teron Davenport and other friend Jeremy Fowler, two writers that we respect quite a bit. Long-form piece about the Titans' plan to make Cam Ward a success. There is a ton of info in here. First of all, you need to go read it. ESPN.com. It is very in-depth. There is a lot about, again, Cam and the Titans finding a perfect marriage of Cam's growth and success at Miami and putting that on the field here in Nashville. But the end of this, Ramon, is where I think we have time to react to it. We don't have time to get into all of this. We'll probably talk more about what we learned in this piece tomorrow. But I think in terms of the stability piece and Brian Callahan's future, there are some interesting nuggets in here, Ramon.
It really is.
Is this the most interesting part to you, the stuff at the end here?
Yeah, most definitely.
All right, well, let's get into that. Again, Jeremy Fowler and Teron Davenport writing, saying there was consideration given to completely cleaning house and sending Brian Callahan on his way along with GM Rand Carthon. Multiple Titan sources confirmed. Brian Callahan and Rand Carthon had a close relationship, and having the number 1 pick gave Tennessee an opportunity to bring in a new general manager, coach, and rookie quarterback at the same time. But the front office took an honest look at the talent on the roster and factored that into Callahan's record in his first season. The front office did not lose sight of Callahan being one of the league's in-demand coaching candidates when the Titans hired him. Chad Brinker tells ESPN in this piece, quote, "We wanted to give him that opportunity to grow as a head football coach. Quote, we felt like another year to grow into that, and we're going to need to see that growth. We believe in Brian, and we think he's going to get there, so that's why he was retained," end quote. The article goes on to say, the sense on the ground during Tennessee's training camp is that Callahan is well supported and that modest progress could be enough to keep his job beyond this year, depending on how that progress looked. A team source says, quote, "He was in an incredibly tough situation last year," end quote, and team officials have noticed Callahan has shown more vocal leadership in year 2. Ramon, what do you think about all that?
That's eye-opening. For a lot of different reasons, man. To try to reset yourself again, I think sets you back even more so. The perception of what losing does or did last year. And I think it's because of the hype that was surrounding this team going into it, as much praise and national attention that Will Levis had gotten, and the free agents that you brought in and the draft picks, and you thought you had all the pieces in place. But again, it's one of those growth type of situations. It's one of those situations as a team recognizing what you are. Injuries happen. It's just bad loss. You can't control turnovers to people who have a magnet for those situations. But looking at Callahan, one, I think we spoke about it earlier. What have we learned about this preseason? I would think we both agreed before even seeing this article that Callahan had a little bit longer leash. That's good to hear. But to also hear is, you so quick to move on from him. It wouldn't make me sleep as well at night. But I think the people who are in direct contact with Brian Callahan daily, and I think that's Chad, and I think that's Mike Borgonzi, I think he should probably have a little bit of a better feel for his job moving forward. Borgonzi goes on just a couple lines after you finish there, Will, and said, I'm really not big into expectations. I want to see growth. And I think that's where Callahan has to solidify himself as an NFL head coach, too. That was his rookie season. He's never been in a position of managing like that. So to have all the optimism on hiring him and then to immediately forget, why you hired him, that's a little problematic. Just my take on that one.
I think it's interesting how, Ramon, to me, the front office has earned the right to have its say.
Facts.
And it feels like Chad Brinker and Mike Borgonzi to that effect, but Chad Brinker, who was here before Borgonzi, obviously, is vouching for Brian Callahan and his ability to grow into this role. That's, I think, the takeaway for me is Chad Brinker is the decision maker.
Yeah.
Obviously, Amy Adams-Strunk, the owner, has all of that decision-making ability. But that's how this reads to me, is that when you read about how the front office knew the situation that he was in, the front office has earned some decision-making power to make a lot of football decisions.
Letting football people do football things. 100% agree with you there, man. And I think it's best for what this franchise is. It's best for what Cam seems to have taken a strong liking to Brian Callahan, too. I wonder how much of his influence, depending on the type of year that he has, if he shows himself ascending up as from game to game over the course of this year, his input is going to matter more, especially as young as he is, especially as talented as he can be moving forward. That's another part of it, Will, where some football guys have helped making football decision is going to go hugely into the decisions on what Callahan is here in Tennessee, too. I just look at it, and I'm glad they got to that point to where, like you said, it's Miss Amy and her business group's team. That's her this is her family's team. But there is, I think, a portion all our lives, whether it be from our wives, whether it be from even our kids at times, like, hey, you might want to sit this one out. I think they found a respectful way to say that to her to allow this thing to grow. Even if Callahan ain't the coach in the next 4 years, well, after about 4 years, even if he's not, I think what he's laying down, if he continues on, is going to help springboard this team to where she and her family and this fan base kind of wanted to see if they, Chad and Mike, believe in him.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of trust in Chad Brinker to be the football guy within the organization. And obviously we knew that based off of the new responsibility and the whole quote-unquote roster control and final say conversation we had all offseason. But again, as Jeremy Fowler and Teron Davenport write at ESPN.com, there was consideration given to completely cleaning house and sending Brian Callahan on his way. Multiple Titan sources confirmed. Callahan and Rand Carthon had a close relationship, and there was an opportunity there, I'm paraphrasing at this point, to bring in new GM, coach, rookie quarterback all at once. This key paragraph, but the front office took an honest look at the talent on the roster and factored that into Callahan's record in his first season. The front office didn't lose sight of Callahan being one of the league's in-demand coaching candidates when the Titans hired him. I think that's the right decision, and I think that needs to continue being the right decision.
It does.
Because there is a feeling within the organization, from what I read in this, that although there is a new energy and a new quarterback and a new plan, It's also not an immediate fix. And again, when they're quoted in this by saying, the article reads, the objective for this team is clear, just improve. The sense on the ground during Tennessee's training camp is that Callahan is well supported and that modest progress could be enough to keep his job beyond this year, depending on how that progress looks. I think that is a functional, reasonable, smart way to proceed.
Yeah.
I really do. I think Brian Callahan deserves another year to grow into being a head coach, and progress in 2025 means stability wins out in 2026. You add more pieces and you continue taking steps forward. Now, that's contingent on taking a step forward this year. You still got to go do it.
They didn't let him off the hook.
There's no guarantee here. Like there still is within this article saying modest progress could be enough. Well, winning 3 games again or 4 games again probably isn't modest progress. So there is still a level of expectation that goals have got to be met. But I think this is a good sign that this organization is thinking through this logically and smartly to not overreact and clean house 1 year after Brian Callahan got here.
This article also, in my opinion, gave a more clear understanding of what the leadership pecking order is, too. Chad Brinker goes on to saying, our structure is unique, but it's not abnormal. Speaking of just like having your ducks in a row, he goes on to say, the way we're structured is Amy wanted a football executive. So I, Chad, report to Amy. Mike reports to Chad, and the head coach reports to Mike. If there's some sort of dispute that we just can't resolve, we're going to get into the room, we're going to talk about it, and we're going to work through it together. I think throwing that out there also clears up who's in charge. I like that clarity.
There's no doubt.
I love that clarity right there, too. But again, to your point, Callie's not off the hook in this either.
No.
He's got to show that progress that we're speaking of. And that's why I think, I don't know who he's talked to this offseason, but I do think the pods and team bonding and growth and trying to establish a culture of everybody having pressure with everything they've done this offseason is part of his, hey, let me show you the progress we're making as a team. And maybe, well, I ain't sure if this is going to work out, but maybe that shows on the football field.
Yeah, I think it is a sign of a plan that's now public, Ramon, in a way that we've not had in a little bit.
Yeah.
So, anyway, I think it's a good sign about stability winning out and stability being important for the organization and for Cam Ward. So, again, ESPN.com, we're not going to read the whole article. That would be doing a disservice to the reporters who worked on it. Right. I thought that was enough for us to react to there. Go check it out. Great stuff. Frank Reich is quoted within this. There's lessons from Caleb Williams and Bryce Young that I think the Titans take out of this. We'll react more to it tomorrow, but really good stuff from Jeremy Fowler and Teron Davenport and well-sourced reporting. A lot of nuggets in there about how the Titans organization is going to help Cam Ward moving forward. You can react to that, 615-737-1045. We're going to get to Brian Callahan coming up in about 25 minutes. But, Ramon, Austin Price dropped a nugget this morning about Joey Aguilar in Tennessee I thought was very interesting about the difference. Why Joey Aguilar won the QB1 job in Knoxville over Jake Merklinger. We'll react to that coming up next.
It's Ramon Foster for All-American Pest Control, man. Listen, man, I was done with mosquitoes ruining my backyard fun, and I found a solution. Let me tell you about Mosquito Max from All-American Pest Control. All-American's Mosquito Max is your one-stop proven solution for both mosquitoes and year-round pest prevention, man. Save money and say goodbye to the itchy bites. All-American's Mosquito Max include monthly misting, spiderweb removal, and perimeter pest control around your home. So make the change and finally enjoy your backyard like I do, man. Don't let mosquitoes ruin your summer. Go to yuckbugs.com. That's yuckbugs.com and make the switch to All-American Pest Control today. It's Ramon Foster for Princess Hot Chicken. Good people, the original hot chicken. They got locations all around the city, man. From 5814 Nolensville Pike, the original. You can also catch them downtown off Broadway, man, at the Assembly Food Hall. Or you can go out to Tanger Outlets, man, where we were just a couple of weeks ago. They also have a location inside of B&A. So leaving out or coming into the city, you can finally get you some of the Princess Hot Chicken, the original, man. But they got all types of good items on their menu for you, too, man. You can get a plain, you can get it light, hot, light, mild like I do, or you can go all the way up to the 3X hot. It is by far some of the best, most flavorful chicken around. But here's the other part about Princess Hot Chicken, too. They cater from 15 people up to 1,000. So no party size is way too large for them at all, man. They can customize anything for your high-end event to your tailgating as football season kicks off. Princess Hot Chicken has you covered. Visit one of the many locations around the city and make sure you tell them that Ramon sent you.
Ramona Will, fueled by Scooters Coffee on 104.5 The Zone. And coming up in about 20 minutes, Tennessee Titans head coach Brian Callahan meets with the media. You will hear it live here on the program. Ramon Foster, Will Bowling, Justin Hawkins. If you missed Austin Price earlier this morning, if you were a Vols fan, you're going to want to hear that. And the good news for you is that every single time we do an interview, it is posted on the 104.5 The Zone podcast network. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, 1045thezone.com. Wherever you download podcasts, every hour, every minute of the show is there. A particularly informational visit this morning with Austin Price. I asked him about the gap between Joey Aguilar and Jake Merklinger. Austin telling us he feels like Joey's got a leash, where they're not going to pull him the first couple of weeks of the season if he struggles. But I thought this was really interesting, Ramon, about where Joey put it over the edge, earned the starting job in finality. This was Austin Price with us an hour ago.
The last scrimmage, I think, really put him over the edge because he was able to functionally run the offense at the pace they want. And, Hubs and I were standing outside the complex, and there was multiple players that walked outside the complex, either talking to each other or talking on the phone to people, talking about how impressive Joey was in the scrimmage and just how, the pacing of the offense was crisp. He performed really, really well. He threw the ball extremely well, and it was already heading that way anyways, but I think that just solidified it with how he performed, last Friday in the final scrimmage, especially when you factor in that, he wasn't playing with his full complement of weapons, and none of the quarterbacks were, and he was able to perform at a high level.
Could we see Tennessee get back to up-tempo this year, Ramon?
Hearing that sounds to me like they are. Last year, it got slowed down. Did it not? And maybe that's the offense that Nico wants to run, right? Maybe it's better for him to be in a, hey, let's huddle up, walk the clock down to 15 seconds before we snap the ball type of offense. Who knows? However it was, it showed flexibility in Coach Heupel's style and what he was willing to do and transform that offense. But that offense worked well when you had the most recent guy we've seen, Hendon Hooker, at the line of scrimmage. We got to roll. We got to go. First down, on the ball. Don't give the defense a chance to sub in and out. Also, one of the new rules in the NFL, not in the NFL, in college is the subbing. I was on a call recently with referees, and it was like you have to get in and off the field in an athletic manner. So this
athletic pace.
This is an advantage to the Vols in the style of offense. There is no also late subbing in. If the offense subs out, you got to get back on the field defensively in a athletic manner in a prompt time too. That's where I feel like teams have slowed down the advantage that offenses try to have. The same as defenses. Defenses do stuff at the line of scrimmage where they'll fake blitz, they'll shift, that type of stuff to try to mimic movement on the defensive line. This, to me, gives me optimism on Will. Like I said, 7 to 9 games is fine with me with this year with the stuff that the Vols have had going on. But if you add to the fact that they can get back to that competitive advantage of putting defenses on their heels, that's your pathway.
DeMario asks on YouTube, writes in and says, what was the real reason UT wasn't up-tempo like they did before? It's pretty simple. It wasn't the best version of their team. They had a ground and pound, 4 yards and a cloud of dust, ball possession, let your defense be as good as you possibly can because they're the ones that are going to win our games type of system. And it worked.
And they were.
They made the college football playoff. The goal for Tennessee is not play as fast as you can. The goal is to win as many games as you can. And last year's personnel, which was better at the tight end position, a quarterback that was not dynamic enough last season to win you a lot of games himself, that told you, all right, I've got to pivot if I'm Josh Heupel, and he did, to set up to be a defensive football team. And it was a smart pivot. It worked to that point. I mean, good coaches have to be honest with themselves and understand, is it the strategy I want to do and the way I want to build this program? No. But sometimes it's not the way you envisioned your program being built that is the best way for you to win football games in any given season.
I disagree with you a little bit on that.
Really?
Yes, I do. I do think this offense has the need to always want to run fast. That is the advantage, is what I will say. But what I'm getting at is I look at the two quarterbacks that came behind Hendon. I don't think they was able to process the way you needed them to run that fast. I think coach adjusted to what those guys were going to provide to you.
Yeah,
even
that's
look
what
at,
I said.
Yeah, even look at the way the decisions that Nico would make. Like at times, like the ball needed to be gone and he didn't pull the trigger. And I don't think it was because of the defense. I think it's because of how he saw guys break in and out of plays from time to time. And what allowed him to be better as a quarterback is probably a little bit more slowed down offense. I see that in hearing how Austin Price described what Joey has done is what Heupel would absolutely love to do. Not fully disagreeing with what you said, but I think having a quarterback that can get the ball and go and know exactly what to do.
We're saying the same thing.
Plays a bigger dividend for what Nico, the player, and Joe Milton, the player, was doing.
Yeah. No, we're saying the same thing. I think that there is a better fit for Joey within this system in terms of his deep ball accuracy and how he can push the football down the field and not have to rely on the run game. We do have some Titans tickets to give away. Coming up in just about 10 minutes, we're going to give away Titans tickets for Titans and Vikings. So stick around for that if you are a Titans fan that is soldiering through Vols discussion here in hour 4. You're going to hear from Brian Callahan coming up at 9:45, and we're going to give away 2 Titans tickets coming up here in just a few minutes. So for Joey Aguilar in Tennessee, what has to happen for Josh Heupel to stay in fans' good graces this year, Ramon? It's a really interesting case study because it felt like the Nico thing was handled the right way, according to the fan base, by Josh Heupel. But we've talked about this a lot. That may feel good in April. It might not feel good if you're getting your butt kicked in the swamp. Might not feel good if you're 7-5 and you lose at home to somebody that you're not supposed to. It won't feel good if you go to Lexington and drop a game against Kentucky, a bad Kentucky team that you're not supposed to. What has to happen for Josh Heupel to still be seen as the guy and not have fans overreacting to a bad season this year?
Win one of the big 3. I think you start there. Florida, Georgia, Alabama.
You think he has to do that?
I think he has to do that still. I know. I think Florida's capable of being got. I just simply do. If he wants to be considered one of those really good coaches, it can't just be based upon a strong team. Like, you got to be able to pull out wins in places that you're not supposed to be able to go get those dubs. I think Oklahoma matters in Knoxville this year. I think being able to show that you are very competent against Syracuse on the road, the home opener plays huge dividends for it, and actually show that the process of how you operate as an offense. Because I think Tim Banks is almost in his own entity now as a DC. I think he's flying solo with how we perceive him moving forward. I think offensively, this has to be one of the better years for his ability with the talent that he has as a coach to show that he can still compete and go and get one of those big 3. Georgia, I think, is probably in a different world of its own. Bama, as strong as you can get. Florida's the game for me. It absolutely, especially later in the season, too. Florida is the game for me, for him to be able to go and get it, especially back in Knoxville this year, too. That's a lot of pressure, but guess what? $9 million a year justifies him being able to handle that pressure, too. And it ain't just because he's an SEC coach. I think it has to be because he's a good coach, period.
One commenter on YouTube says, Heupel will keep the fans if he's able to have a losing season and still be able to bring in the 5-star quarterback that's supposed to come in next year. If he has a losing season, there's going to be people jumping off ship.
Easily.
If they go 5-7 or 4-8, God forbid. I mean, look how quickly they ran Butch Jones out of town. And again, rightfully so. There were cracks in the foundation for Butch. Butch went 8-4 and then turned around and went 4-8. It's the only 8-loss season in Tennessee football history. He was fired. Was just out. Yeah. Now, granted, Josh Heupel has hit higher highs than Butch Jones did. But to that point, like, it doesn't take long for fans to lose faith.
No.
I think 8 wins is a successful season for Tennessee football in 2025. I do.
All right with you there.
I think that is what down years look like for healthy football programs. And I think Tennessee as a program is really healthy right now. I think 7 wins. And while you don't meet expectations, I don't think we should be jumping off board, off ship about Josh Heupel. I just think this is the reality of college football in 2025, Ramon, that ceilings are higher and floors are lower. When teams are less deep in their depth charts because of NIL and transfer portal, there is more variance on how good and how bad you can be in any given season. That is not a uniquely Josh Heupel problem. That is a college football problem. If Tennessee goes 6-6 this year, we can't be trying to fire the head coach. Right?
I saw it with you there.
Like, that number is probably 4 wins to where I feel like pressure would really start to mount. Like, if he wins 4 or 5 games, then it's a really big prove-it year for Josh Heupel in 2026. But I bring this topic up, Ramon, to encourage people to stay away from the ledge. Stephen Godfrey's come in here and said it to us. We can't have a referendum on Tennessee football just if things take a step back this year, because programs not coached by Smart and Saban take steps back without the program as a whole being in trouble.
I agree.
Does that make sense what I'm saying?
No, that makes perfect sense.
If Tennessee takes a step back this season, that's just what happens when you lose a quarterback in spring. I do think there is a world where Joey Aguilar connects on some deep balls and this offense is fun again. And that's where I think Josh Heupel, if this team goes 7-5, but they're putting up 40 points every now and then, there's deep balls. Mike Matthews is having a good year. Joey Aguilar is a successful quarterback statistically. I think fans will give Heupel a pass if the offense is fun again. Because as we always say, can't be boring and bad.
Cannot. If Heupel was to win 7 games with Nico Iamaleava as his quarterback, yeah, it's problems.
Then we'd be having a totally different conversation.
Different problems.
Right.
The talent of Nico, I think, is projected to be higher than the talent of Joey Aguilar. Clear. I think there's no conversation behind that. You felt better with Nico than it would you had with Joey. I think a lot of fans can understand that, but the fact that the guy didn't want to be there and you weren't going to bend the knee to their demands, you're left with this. And from this is why I say, like, looking at how defensively, and that's why I say, we're at Florida this year.
I don't see a world where Tennessee's beating Florida this year. I really don't.
Okay.
I think that's a playoff caliber team at home in a place where Tennessee has been cursed.
Okay. We'll see.
There's a lot of time that's got to go between now and then, and we don't know if DJ Lagway is going to be healthy by that point, but we'll see. Taylor asks on YouTube, has Heupel proven he can develop a quarterback? What do you mean? Taylor, I appreciate you, man. I know you watch the show a lot, and we love you, man, but, like, if Josh Heupel's proven one thing, it's that he can develop a quarterback.
What was Hendon? I mean.
What, Joe Milton?
Joe.
What was Joe Milton in Michigan? What he turned into an NFL draft pick at Tennessee.
Hendon went number 3 with a torn ACL.
Dylan Gabriel as a true freshman at UCF. Drew Lock at Missouri. No, Josh Heupel can develop a quarterback. There is no doubting that. No doubting that whatsoever. The question is, how quickly can he do it with this quarterback? Has he had enough time with Joey to develop him into a legitimate Josh Heupel quarterback? So we'll see. I think it's a really interesting case study, Ramon, in how the transfer portal and how a quarterback going off script and transferring last minute impacts fan expectations and belief in the program as a whole.
Yeah.
We'll see. And to the point on YouTube saying those are all transfer quarterbacks, you still get credit for developing transfers.
Exactly.
And Dylan Gabriel wasn't a transfer quarterback. He was a true freshman for Heupel.
So I guess Arizona State should take Jaden Daniels Heisman then, right?
Yeah, by that rationale too, Lincoln Riley had nothing to do with Caleb Williams' development.
No, absolutely not.
Like, of course you get credit for
I get you.
What about
like
Joe
UT?
Burrow?
Yeah, like LSU should give that Heisman should go to Ohio State then, if that's the case. Like at this,
the gymnastics that some people do just to always be negative about Tennessee, no matter what, it's got to be exhausting.
I get it.
It's got to be exhausting. I get you don't have to like Tennessee, but the gymnastics some of y'all do to just be haters is honestly got to be tiring.
So I guess Jackson State take credit for Travis Hunter.
Yeah, Colorado gets no credit for developing Travis Hunter. That's Jackson State's Heisman.
That's Jackson State Heisman. If we're going to play that game.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
What about Darnell Wright?
Question on YouTube says, what quarterback have they recruited and developed? Again, Hendon Hooker, Drew Lock, Dylan Gabriel. You recruit transfers. It's 2025, my guy. It's not 2004 anymore.
Everybody's playing that game.
You recruit transfers as well. Absolutely right.
And maybe the guys that transferred out who were at Tennessee hadn't gone anywhere else and developed and played either. Right? Who's the kid that went to Indiana?
Taven Jackson?
Taven's not the starter there, from my understanding.
It was Curtis Rourke.
So, did you make the right decision to not play him and have him transfer? I'm not going to do this game.
Holden on YouTube says, this clown should lose his little mic after saying Florida is a playoff team. Holden, buddy, I think you're in denial. Have you seen their roster? The wide receivers they brought in, with Trey Wilson healthy again, with the transfers they brought in with Sturdivant, with the 2 freshman running backs who are healthy again, with Ball, with DJ Lagway. They brought back a lot of that offensive line. I know Billy Napier had some tough times, but that team went on a streak late last season for a reason. He's got it going again.
Hey, I'm back to claiming Henry told too. Henry T, you ours now. You ours now, baby.
We've got some Titans tickets to give away this morning for the very first time this season. It is a Titans Ticket Tuesday. Each week before home games, we will be giving you a chance to win a pair of tickets to the Tennessee Titans game. Titans and Vikings this Friday at Nissan Stadium. You can be there if you're caller number 5 right now, 615-737-1045. That is 615-737-1045. Caller number 5 right now heads to Nissan Stadium to see Titans and Vikings this Friday. Coming up next, Titans head coach Brian Callahan after this. Ramona Will, fueled by Scooters Coffee at 104.5 The Zone. Brian Callahan coming up shortly. Ramon Foster and Will Bowling wrapping up the show. Buck Rising as you covered up next. All of us in studio today. Not out at training camp. I will have boots on the ground observations tomorrow. You're head of the practice too, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm going to go.
All right, well, we will both have observations.
Yeah, we will.
From what happens in practice
Wait to see another push and shove today. I hope they make somebody tap. I want to see a figure 4 leg lock.
All right,
Will.
easy.
No.
Careful what you whisk.
Put them on the ground. I want to see a figure 4 leg lock. Okay? If somebody don't get Stone Cold Stunner today, it's a failed practice.
Sicko. Absolute sicko. The Titans have released linebacker Khalil Hudson.
What?
So there you go.
All right.
15 minutes ago. Titans legend Khalil Hudson. I don't know. At this point, it's the expectation we have that this team is going to churn the bottom of the roster quite a bit.
But you see what I mean by like this last week though? Like
just trying stuff.
Just get
through it.
Just not just get through it, but yes, get through it. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Because I'm always empathetic to the process because I was a back of the roster undrafted free agent.
Sure.
So there's a lot of importance to it.
Sure.
But yeah, get through it, man. Get us to week 0 in the NFL.
Do we have Callahan?
Yeah, right. Somebody's lying. LT3.
He has not shown up yet.
He has not shown up yet. All right.
He's getting a little Titans tussle himself.
Report this morning, 1 minute ago.
Yeah, right.
From Adam Schefter. This is real. From Adam Schefter and Stephen Holder, a QB decision in Indy. The Colts have named Daniel Jones as their starting quarterback for their season opener against the Dolphins. Ooh. Did I not call this, Ramon?
You called it yesterday.
I called it this morning. We talked about this morning.
Whoa.
Daniel Jones is the higher floor guy. And what is important for a head coach and a GM on the hot seat? Higher floor.
Higher floor.
Daniel Jones can win you 7 or 8 games.
No.
Go for it. We'll go in 7 or 8 games, protect your job, and draft your next one.
At $14 million. Follow the money, baby. I mean, a backup role for him would have been 2 to $7 million. 14 puts him in a different world. Shout out to the coach for making a hard decision. Oh my gosh. That's crazy, coach. Zach Bunch, man, you got to call in and just.
Our resident Colts fan, Zach in Hendersonville.
This is crazy. NFL.com, 29 seconds ago. Daniel Jones, Danny Dimes. Shout out to him, man, for keep tricking him. Love that for the Colts, man. Mm-hmm. Seriously. This puts them in a situation to where they made a hard decision to go against a top 5 draft pick. Well, that doesn't happen. I think it even sets them up for they don't set them up for firing because they go win. Are you trading for Anthony Richardson if you're an NFL GM in another NFL city at this point? Because that's the option.
Heck no.
This isn't.
Heck no. Heck no.
Heck no.
Absolutely not. I'm not trading anything for Anthony Richardson unless it's a bag of footballs and some powdered Gatorade.
Powder? Can't even get the cans?
Nope.
You don't want the cans?
Nope. I would not trade Gatorade cans for Anthony Richardson.
What if they gave you the ice blue one?
No, wouldn't do it.
The white cherry.
Powdered only.
White cherry?
Powdered only.
This is what happens when you don't develop quarterbacks at Florida.
No, it's what happens when you draft a guy with like 20 career starts in his football life.
That was my joke.
In the top 5 of the NFL draft. That's just you being petty to Florida.
It was. That's almost also my joke to the people that said the hyper don't develop quarterbacks.
Oh, yeah, okay. Fair enough.
Damn.
I'm not surprised at all. This was always the way it was going to go.
This ain't supposed to happen.
No, it's not.
It's not supposed to happen in this world.
We got Brian Callahan at the podium now. Here you go. Here's a couple minutes to the head coach.
Get me off, Dan.
Do you have an idea on maybe the plan for Friday night yet?
Yeah, not fully. We're going to get through practice today, see where we're at. I do think the intent is to still play football a little bit with our starters. How much remains to be seen. That'll kind of be determined over the next day or two. But they definitely will be, most of those guys will play, and then there'll be a handful of select guys that we won't. But got to play a little more football.
Kelly, what is the plan with Legarius? Is there any hope that he can start working his way clear to the physical this week, or what's the schedule looking for him?
Yeah, there's some hope that's the case. Maybe we'll see where he's at tomorrow. I think one more time, and then there's a chance that happens pretty soon. But I'm refraining from any definitive statements on it for the moment. But I'm hopeful that happens soon.
It seemed like your scuffle yesterday didn't match up with the sins that you've been preaching, the brotherhood stuff that you've been preaching. What's your take on what unfolded there?
Yeah, I think it was a training camp push and shove and a little bit of loud barking, and that was pretty much it. For me, it's late August, and we're ready to go play some real football, I think, and I think that's pretty standard back and forth in this point of training camp. So I didn't think too much of it. Guys got a little hot. Tempers flared, and we moved on. So I don't.
There's a red jersey on the quarterback, not to know that he's not to be touched, not just in a play, but in a situation like that.
Oh, of course, you don't want the quarterback being touched. The flip side of it is the quarterback enters willingly into the fray like that, then that's on him as well. So he's got to not do that and enter himself into that spot. But yeah, we don't want a red jersey getting touched. So that's what it is.
So when Jeff takes hands to his face in that moment, there are no consequences in that moment.
Yeah.
Is that special privileges for Jeff, or does that tell the defense anybody can take hands to Cam's face?
No, that's not at all. I mean, anything that we do when it comes to those types of things and conversations I've had with those guys are internal. I don't need to share any of them, but yeah, I think there's not really much more to add than that.
What would it take for you to discipline Jeff on the field and throw him off? You didn't last summer in a much more serious incident.
Yeah.
That seemed worthy of something in the moment to some of us. It seems like he has free rein.
That's not accurate at all. Look, I don't know where this throwing out of practice thing came from. It's pretty bothersome, to be honest with you. I've worked in the league for 16 years with a lot of really good head coaches, and I've never seen a player thrown out of a training camp practice for some pushing and shoving and some cuss words. So it doesn't register with me the same way. I don't know what it's like been before here or anything like that, but I've coached a long time, and I've been around training camp since I was 15 years old, and the amount of players I've seen thrown out of a practice is I can't even remember one that ever happened. So I don't know where that comes from. I don't know what that desire to see that happen comes from. I don't understand it. But Jeff he left the practice field after that play, just like we'd ask all our assistant coaches, if tempers get hot, take the guy off the field and cool him down, and practice ended 2 plays later. So I don't understand all that. But I think all my conversations with Jeff and the players involved and now that those are internal. And
Sneed for a minute.
Yeah.
You talked all along about how he has a plan and you guys are counting on him. Are you planning on him being in the lineup week 1 in Denver?
We'll see. I don't have any definitive timelines that I can pin that to. We're going to find out. A lot of that, even the return to practice part, as you've seen with veterans that we've had in, with Quandre and now Lloyd working back in, there's a health standpoint where you're able to return to practice, and then there's the actual playing of football and the shape that you have to be in to go participate in a 70-play NFL game.
What kind of status do you expect him
There
to
he
have?
is, head coach Brian Callahan meeting with the media. Unfortunately, we are out of time and got to get to our last break. So that way Buck is able to get in here, or the Buck Rising Show. So I imagine Buck is at practice. There you go. Sneed maybe soon, and a lot of questions on Jeff. Ramon's done. Back at it tomorrow. We'll both be at practice today to watch it and give you observations between the chat and the presser. Ramon is fed up to finish off
If
the show.
I don't see a clothesline, I'm talking about
Ramon
a power
wants a
bomb,
fight. Ramon, Foster fisticuffs.
a
still to
leg
come
lock.
today. We'll see you tomorrow.
Practice a failure, but your Twitter fingers and your mic is always hot. Bye.